Experience beautiful, multi-dimensional, ammonia-free, salon-quality color for under $25. Join the hundreds of thousands of women who have tried and loved Madison Reed. Find your perfect shade at madison-reed.com and get 10% off plus free shipping on your first color kit. Use code TOP. That's code TOP. Try it. Love it. That's the beauty of Madison Reed.
You've heard of living trusts and how they can help protect your assets, but you may not know if a living trust is right for you. Or maybe you have questions about creating your own living trust. The fact is, almost everyone can benefit from a living trust, which can protect your assets from the court system and your loved ones from unnecessary expense and inconvenience. Learn more at a free seminar Wednesday, November 7th at Papa Joe's Restaurant in Orland Park. Estate planning attorney Robert Zapolis will explain how to create your own living trust, estate planning under the new tax laws, why a will does not avoid probate, and more. Have your estate planning and living trust questions answered absolutely free. Don't miss this important seminar, Wednesday, November 7th at 6:30 at Papa Joe's Restaurant, 145th and LaGrange Road in Orland Park. The seminar is free and a complimentary dinner is served, but you must make a reservation now. Call 708-478-1400, 708-478-1400.
Signature Bank is Chicago's fastest-growing independently owned business bank. It's a bank where relationships still matter. Signature Bank knows your name and your story. I'm Dan Proft, and I know this because Signature Bank is my business bank.
I'm Mick O'Rourke, President and CEO of Signature Bank, Chicago's business bank. I'd like to thank our customers for selecting Signature as their trusted banking partner to help build their businesses. We started Signature in 2006, and we've had the opportunity to meet so many hardworking Chicagoans. From third-generation family-owned businesses on the west side of Chicago to tech innovators at 1871. Signature Bank is proud to work across many different industries in the city and beyond. As the fastest-growing, independently owned business bank in Chicago, Signature is always welcoming new customers. I'd love to meet you and learn about your business.
Signature Bank is looking for their next success story. To learn more about turning your business vision into reality, visit signaturebank.bank. Signature Bank, helping local businesses succeed. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Right now, there are young people across the world facing a tough choice. Continue their dream of education or drop out to help their family put food on the table. You can help change their future in a single moment. See how far your support can go at unbound.org.
5:12, a check on the roads in the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center. Here's Jim Talamonte.
On the Kennedy Expressway this morning, traffic's moving well. Inbound, the exit to Harlem is now set to reopen after overnight construction. Reversibles are open on the inbound side. Edith looks good. Roads are wet. Allow safe following distance. Up on Eisenhower at Wolf, crash is cleared. Traffic moves pretty well on the Ike, also on the Stevenson. Line is okay. There's outbound work at 87. Bishop Ford inbound. Stop and go 111. Stony Island feeder. 20 minutes, 8094 to merge. Reagan Tollway eastbound, Veterans Memorial on the exit ramp, northbound 355. Disabled vehicle, 3 lanes are blocked. Northwest Indiana looks fine. That's traffic. I'm Jim Talamonte from the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center on AM 560 The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer starts next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast. From the 1-hour heating and air conditioning weather center, cloudy, rainy, 52 today, rain in 44 overnight. Election day weather, cloudy, windy, and a high near 50. Some of those winds could gust at 35 miles an hour. 45 at O'Hare. Next news at 5:30. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy starts now on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by the Money Hour Radio Show, Saturday afternoons at 3 on AM 560, The Answer. Brought to you by Pearshell Financial Group.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560, The Answer.
Good morning. Happy Election Eve, Dan and Amy. And, boy, so much to cover, the key races. But let's start with the key issue that's informed this entire cycle, from the PHAT marches to the Kavanaugh confirmation hearing. Right? the women's power.
Power to the people.
Or,
Yes.
the kind of rise of the radical left feminists, the third wave feminists. Confirmation
I would have known. I
hearing.
would have worn my pea hat today.
Confirmation hearing was, the part of what's informing some people's votes tomorrow is the strike back against the Kavanaugh confirmation, right? All those old white Republican men, how dare they sit in judgment of anybody who would make an accusation against Brett Kavanaugh, who's a white man, I should add, right? So how much coverage do you think this story is going to get today?
Oh, the Kavanaugh accuser who admits to making up the rape story?
Miss Judy Monroe Layton admitted that she fabricated an accusation that Brett Kavanaugh and a friend sexually assaulted and raped me in his car, unquote. That was the allegation in an October 3rd email to the Judiciary Committee. Kavanaugh denied it, and Miss Monroe Layton conceded on November 1st to law enforcement that she made it all up because she, quote, wanted to get attention. I was angry and I sent it out.
Yeah, and it was also a tactic to try and stop Kavanaugh's confirmation.
And so this, in addition to Chuck Grassley referring to justice, both Kavanaugh accuser Julie Swetnick and her scumbag porn lawyer Michael Avenatti, who made a big ruckus during that confirmation hearing, too, without much substance to back it up. So, again, this is not Christine Blasey Ford, but it is pertinent.
Yeah, and can you imagine if he didn't become a justice of the Supreme Court because of this false allegation? It's pretty much what President Trump tweeted as well. But this is just the levels that they will stoop to bring down a strong conservative male. And quite frankly, it scares me. I don't like the world we're living in right now.
I refuse to allow Donald J. Trump to use me or my story in an ugly chant at one of his Republican rallies, she wrote. Uh-huh. Yeah. So, and the other key here, because why would anybody put themselves through this? That was the question. She has no incentive to do this, the particular accusers. Well, here's a woman who admits that her incentive was she wanted to get attention or, stop Trump, stop Kavanaugh, stop Trump by stopping Kavanaugh.
Quote, I sent it out. I was angry. Oh, okay. Get your emotions in check, lady. Nothing
to be gained by making an accusation against Kavanaugh. Well, except the attention and $1 million in a GoFundMe account. By the way, as an aside, reported last week, the $600,000 in Brett Kavanaugh's GoFundMe account, he's refusing.
Good.
So where does the honor lie in this story? And it seems like a lifetime ago. It was a few weeks ago.
It does.
So if the Kavanaugh confirmation is informing your vote, and that's a vote to protest Republicans or some of your friends, you're gonna get them. Really? The conduct of Senate Democrats on the Judiciary Committee, in addition to the flimsy, if not outright proven false, accusations against Kavanaugh by at least two women.
Yeah, but none of those have had any hard evidence to be proven either. And so, all the accusation against him now, the different ones, I don't believe any of it.
Well,
I just don't.
The flip side is what's happening over there at Google. The one of the biggest weapons in the left's arsenal, right? Google, Sundar Pichai, Larry, and Sergey, and all the P hats there. Their weep fest after the 2016 election. Staff at Google offices around the world staging unprecedented series of walkouts to protest the company's treatment of women.
Oh, so they're doing it on Election Day, or are they doing it today?
So James Damore wasn't the problem. Imagine that. This is going on around the country starting last week. Hundreds of Google workers in San Francisco and around the world, really. There's a big rally in the UK. Sundar Pichai, the CEO, I understand the anger and disappointment many of you feel. I'm fully committed to making progress on an issue that has persisted far too long in our society. And yes, here at Google, too. Referring to the New York Times story of the $90 million payout to Andy Rubin, the creator of the Android mobile operating system, after accusations of sexual misconduct against him. He denies the accusations, did not deny the $90 million. 48 other employees fired for sexual harassment without receiving payment, according to PidSci. But he admitted that the New York Times report on Rubin and others, including Richard Duvall, a research lab exec, had been, quote, difficult to read.
Oh, no.
Boy, I just hope, that's what I really am concerned about, Sundar getting through this. But so just in terms of, women, respect for women, the treatment of women in these high-profile matters at high-profile companies, in high-profile positions. On election eve, what do we find with two of the biggest? The Kavanaugh confirmation hearing, and how that informs certain people's votes, and what's happening at those paragons of leftist virtue signaling like Google. Ed in Oak Brook, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
You know what? You want to go back to the Kavanaugh thing. I never believed that Ford lady. I think she made that whole thing up in her mind. She probably wanted something like that to happen, but I don't think Kavanaugh was the guy. And another issue that I hope you guys are going to talk about is these taxes that they want to propose in Illinois, which is really going to wipe out the middle class in Illinois. So that's something that's near and dear and very close to disastrous for all of us here.
We'll get to Illinois.
Least, DuPage County.
Yeah, we'll get to it. Thanks, Ed.
Before you see it on TV, share it on Facebook, or read about it in the paper. Hear it here first. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
My number two does not look like a number two. I don't know what to call it. Is there a number three?
Table for 4, please. Anything close to the restroom.
A middle seat with these stomach problems? That's my fear of flying.
Sound like you? If it does, you could be one of the many people with a digestive condition called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI. Even if you don't know what EPI is, you might know the symptoms: frequent diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain. If you have even just one of these symptoms, you could still have EPI, because not everybody experiences EPI the same way, which is why it's so important to open up to your doctor about all your symptoms. And the good news is, EPI is manageable, so don't keep a lid on it. Go to identifyepi.com, complete the symptom checker, and use it to have a conversation with your doctor. Don't keep a lid on it. Visit identifyepi.com. Brought to you by AbbVie.
The following is a paid political announcement.
Hello, voters of DuPage County. My name is Chris Randall, and I'm a veteran of 2 combat deployments. Today, I'm speaking with you about the toughest and best commander I've ever had, Kevin Wiley. He's running for DuPage County District 6 County Board. I've been in some tough situations in my life and served with some of the finest Americans in our nation. And I can confidently say today that Kevin Wiley was the finest commander I've ever worked for. In an army of great leaders, he was primus inter pares, first among equals. Please vote for my friend and commander, Kevin Wiley, for DuPage County District 6.
Paid for by Wiley for DuPage County.
Noted author, former chief medical correspondent, and Salonpas user Dr. Bob Arnott.
The human body has billions of pain receptors. Block those receptors with the anesthetics found in Salonpas Lidocaine Plus, and you'll have relief. Salonpas Lidocaine Plus contains 2 anesthetics, including the maximum strength lidocaine available without a prescription. They numb aggravated nerves for effective, lasting relief. For relief, try what I use, Salonpas Lidocaine Plus.
In the silver box with the blue wave.
Pain drugs are addictive and have side effects. Get off the drugs, get rid of the pain. You don't need to live with chronic pain. Let's repeat that. You do not have to live in pain. Chronic pain is the worst from an accident or pain that just develops. Dr. Ken Candido is one of the most respected and successful pain doctors in the world. Dr. Candido will work to find the source of your chronic pain and fix it. He teaches pain management around the world and has been voted one of Chicago's best pain doctors several times. Okay, you get it. He's the pain doctor you need. Dr. Candido of Chicago Anesthesia and Pain Specialists will help you get off the pain medication and all of its side effects. You can get your life back. Drugs mask the pain, find the source, and fix it. Call Dr. Ken Candido and make an appointment with a cutting-edge, respected, and successful pain physician. Go to mypainchicago.com. That's mypainchicago.com. Thousands have been helped with their chronic pain. You be the next one. Get the phone number and all the info at mypainchicago.com.
My name is Dr. Jonathan Greenberg. Stop what you are doing because what I'm about to say will improve the quality of your life. ZYPPAH.com. That's ZPA. It's Happy Z spelled backwards. ZPA is designed to be comfortable, affordable, and effective at eliminating snoring. I want to help you stop snoring. Go to ZPA.com and order now. ZYPPAH.com. Snoring is a serious matter. ZPA will conquer your snoring problems. Go to ZPA.com and order now.
This is a court-ordered notice. Current and former Ford, Lincoln, and Mercury owners or lessees can receive payments and other benefits from a legal settlement related to allegedly defective Takata airbags in their vehicles. To see if your vehicle is included and to file a claim, go to autoairbagsettlement.com or call 1-888-735-5596. That's autoairbagsettlement.com or 1-888-735-5596.
AM 560, The Answer.
Dan and Amy, text from Steve on 88. Happy Pritzker Eve, when your blood pressure and your taxes will be raised. All right. Robert in Oakbrook, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys are going to talk about it, but here in Oakbrook, McDonald's left for Cook County, for Chicago.
Yeah.
And the governor's race is all about bringing corporations into Illinois, but they're not going to tax those corporations. Like Chicago's probably not going to tax McDonald's. So who's going to pay for all those tax breaks?
You mean that the incentives they get to locate here? Is that
exactly?
Yes.
And it's got to be a big incentive to leave the beautiful land of Oakbrook to go to Chicago.
Thanks for the call. Thanks for the call, Robert.
It was a nice compound. Have you ever been to a wedding there or a function there? The McDonald's headquarters? It's a nice piece of land.
Yeah, I've been there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
Well, I wonder what they got from Rahm to move to Cook County.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what. There's not enough incentives in the world to come here. Oh, hey, have you heard? You know how the Wine Club buddies, Benedict Ronner and Tiny Dancer, were going to bring HQ2 here?
Oh, yeah, we had some bad news.
It's sort of confirmed but not confirmed. It's Crystal City, Virginia is the location of HQ2. The Washington Post reported on it, and then Amazon's director of economic development chastised people. Memo to the genius leaking info about Crystal City, VA as HQ2 selection. You're not doing Crystal City, VA any favors, and stop treating the NDA you signed like a used napkin. Well, hey, genius, economic development director at Amazon, that responds to the Washington Post story. Sure sounds like it's going to Crystal City, Virginia, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
So, if you were, but back to Illinois. If you're looking for a grand slam, you bought the bull jive. You think that all that we talk about in this show in terms of the economic climate in this state is just made up, part of the vast right-wing / SEC conspiracy, Jim Carville? Well, no. And those who were tilting at the HQ2 windmill are the same people who were tilting at the Piatone windmill. And we always want the grand slam. We're going to get we're going to get a big airport.
Or we're going to get the Olympics. It's going to change
Yeah,
everything.
exactly. That's
Everybody
another
bought
good example.
land around Jackson Park
Yeah.
to make money. Bought those homes for $24,000. We can rent them out. We're going to make money.
Our politicians are going to save us with the grand slam in the bottom of the ninth, right? That's why we just stick with the same old. That's why we're going to rush out tomorrow to vote for the status quo. Keep Madigan in power, Cullerton in power. Keep flipping the suburbs to be expansions of the fiefdoms of the Chicago Democrat crime families. That's the play, right? Jim in Crown Point.
Did you ever notice that Pritzker looks like George Wendt?
That is an insult to George Wendt. Pritzker is twice the size of George Wendt.
Yeah.
Right,
Thanks for the call, Jim. And we know him as Norm.
He is Norm. Okay.
And we
Yeah.
also know him. He's also
I was in a golf tournament with him a few months ago.
Joe
George
Burkett's
went. He's pretty
brother-in-law.
big. Pardon?
Joe Burkett's brother-in-law.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and Burkett was running for all of the offices he ran for before he got the judicial sinecure. Went would always headline fundraisers for him. I love George Wendt.
He's very personable.
And you know what? You know what's interesting?
What? Tell me.
Cheers holds up very well. Have you gone to watch a rerun of Cheers lately?
I haven't. Should I?
Do so.
Okay.
Take time out. Take 20 minutes out. Stream it. You get no commercials. Take time out. Go watch a couple episodes. I'll tell you what. It'll be difficult to only watch a couple episodes. That's how good it is.
Okay.
So well written, including, by the way, one of the top writers there, Rob Long, conservative. But it holds up very well 30, 35 years later.
Right.
Yeah.
A
Little binge watching tip to.
A tip from Dan Proud.
Well, to assuage your health issues, like as Stephen 88 said, your blood pressure going up after tomorrow's results. Just escape and watch season 7 of Cheers.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
A open letter to suburban moms from a suburban mom in the Chicago area at 5:38.
And the 6 seconds Susana Mendoza probably wishes she could take back. But first, let's get into the newsroom. Here is Mike Scott.
45 and rain showers. Democrats face an uphill battle to flip 23 seats in the House, 2 in the Senate. In tomorrow's midterm elections, President Trump not on the ballot, rallying crowds around the country, saying a vote for Republicans is a vote for his policy.
So if you want more caravans and you want more crime, vote Democrat. It's very simple. If you want strong borders and safe communities, vote Republican.
Democrat National Committee Chairman Tom Perez says he believes too many working families have been left behind in the Trump economy.
Talking about real wage growth. If you get $1 more in your paycheck and the cost of gasoline, the cost of health care, the cost of housing goes up by $3, you're not better off.
Former President Obama in Indiana Sunday in a final push to secure Democrat votes ahead of Tuesday's midterms.
It's happened because ordinary folks decided we're going to get off the couch. We're going to go mobilize. We're going to go march. We're going to go vote.
The former president also rallied Democrats at UIC here in Illinois. Residents of North Ogden, Utah are paying respects to their mayor. A U.S. service member killed in Afghanistan on Saturday was that mayor, Brent Taylor. NATO officials reporting earlier that an Afghan commando turned his gun on U.S. soldiers in Kabul, killing one and wounding another. Reports say the man behind the Florida yoga studio shooting had a history of harassing young women and was a self-described misogynist. Scott Beerley was accused of killing 2 women and injuring 5 others Friday evening at a Tallahassee, Florida yoga studio before fatally shooting himself. Authorities are investigating a deadly hit-and-run crash in Ford Heights this morning. It happened to a victim walking along the roadway near Lincoln Highway and Transportation Drive. Jury selection begins in the trial of drug lord Joaquin El Chapo Guzman today. He's accused of numerous drug offenses, many here in the Chicago area, but that trial will be in New York. An Itasca man is dead and an Elgin woman is missing after the 2 went swimming at Lake Michigan near Highland Park. Authorities say the pair began struggling after going into the water along with a group yesterday morning for a polar bear plunge type event at Park Avenue Beach. And the Air Force this morning is rallying behind its mascot. Well, the Air Force Academy, a live falcon named Aurora, recovering after a major prank by West Point cadets. The Army is apologizing this morning after 2 birds were swiped by the cadets before Saturday's rivalry football game. They were tossed into dog crates with sweaters over them. Aurora was likely thrashing about, injured both of her wings. Birds were returned after cadets realized that the prank was going sideways, and the Army promises a full investigation. Jordan Howard ran for a pair of scores. First-place Bears pound the Bills 41-9 in Buffalo. Bulls are in New York tonight to take on the Knicks. The news, a service of Compassion International. Sponsoring a child with compassion is the most effective way to end extreme child poverty. Release a child from poverty when you become a Compassion sponsor. Choose your child now at compassion.com/radio and do your part to release a child from poverty today. 5:34 and a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Mike Gallagher says we control our own destiny.
Do not buy this narrative that people know what's going to happen this coming Tuesday night. They don't know. They're the same ones who said they knew that Hillary was going to win in November of 2016. Don't believe them. Go to the polls. Crawl over broken glass to vote. We show up, we're going to win.
The Mike Gallagher Show, weekdays at 9, right before Dennis Prager at 11 on AM 560. The Answer.
The following is a paid political announcement.
Rich, poor, Republican, Democrat, we're all the same when it comes to property taxes.
We're not going to be living in Illinois anymore, and it's due to the property taxes.
Go to SaveYourHomeNow.org. You stay. The politicians go. Liberty Principles paid for this ad and is solely responsible for its content.
Hey, if you're missing teeth or even a single tooth, then dental implants are a fantastic way to regain your confidence, your smile, and your dental health. Hey, Sean Hannity here. So what are you waiting for? Find out now if implants are for you. Successful implants don't come from an implant factory. Skill, treatment, installation, those are the main differences for successful lifelong implants. That's why you need to see Dr. Neruzzi at Fox River Periodontics. Dr. Neruzzi is the recommended choice of dentists that don't do implants themselves. You need the experience, the skill, and honesty that over 25 years of dental implants brings, and you're going to be happy with your implant. It's not a mass production procedure because everyone is different. And Dr. Neruzzi wants to talk to you about dental implants today.
This is Dr. Neruzzi. I personally guarantee your happiness with your implants.
Call Fox River Periodontics at 630-232-7400. They're online at implantsforme.com.
Looking to secure financing on a new home? Then you need to call Team Hochberg. Stephanie, account manager, contacted her credit union to get pre-qualified for a mortgage. Bad move. The credit union's alleged mortgage expert informed Stephanie she couldn't purchase a home without a cosigner. Wrong. Stephanie's grandfather would cosign, but she wanted to do it herself. After hearing hundreds of our ads, Stephanie called for a free consultation. An experienced Team Hochberg mortgage professional answered Stephanie's questions and helped her secure a mortgage without a cosigner. Let's review. The inexperienced mortgage professional at Stephanie's credit union stated she needed a cosigner to purchase a home, and Team Hochberg secured her a mortgage without a cosigner. When securing a mortgage, you could either get terrible advice at your credit union, or you could call Team Hochberg at 312-751-1333. Team Hochberg has helped thousands of AM 560 listeners, but we can't help if you don't call 312-751-1333 or visit am560david.com.
Pearl Mortgage, an equal housing lender, Illinois residential mortgage licensee 4358 and MLS 19186.
Check out the newest podcast from the Associated Press, Ground Game, hosted by AP's Megan Crane. A weekly conversation about top political issues ahead of the upcoming midterm elections. Available on Apple Podcasts.
5:37, a check on the roads in the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center with Jim Talamonte.
Inbound Bishop Ford Freeway traffic stop and go. 411th Stony Island feeder. Roadway still down to one lane. This road work till now is expected to last around November 10th. But you're looking at 20 to 22 minutes now. 8094 to Ryan. Half-out fine at 15 minutes. About Ryan, getting just a little congestion approaching downtown. Edens is delay-free. No problems to report at the moment on the Kennedy. Traffic starting to build a little bit on 190 approaching O'Hare. Eisenhower looks good. Mount Stevenson is a little bit tight between Pulaski and Kedzie. No delays to report on I-57. No problems to report on the tollways at this hour. That's traffic. I'm Jim Talamonte from the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center on AM 560 The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the 1 Hour Heating and Air Conditioning Weather Center. Cloudy, a bit of rain. High 52 today, currently 45. Next news coming up at 6. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560 The Answer.
If you're talking about it, I'll be talking about it. Dennis Prager here. Join me this morning at 11, right here on AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. So President Trump harried a schedule of rallies to close the show over the last 72 hours. And tonight in Cape Girardeau.
Well, he's going to Indiana, He's going to end up in Missouri, and he's going to another state. 3 states today, and over the weekend he went to 4 different states.
Well, Cape Girardeau is interesting because Hannity and Rush are joining him.
Yep, they sure are.
That'll be interesting. We'll get out the vote there for Josh Hawley because Democrat Senate candidates and incumbents in the case of McCaskill in Missouri have closed. That survey over the weekend had McCaskill and Hawley in a dead heat where he had been leading by a few points for most of the last month. You would think, particularly after some of McCaskill's problems in the last 2 weeks, that it wouldn't be the case, but it is, at least according to one survey. So that's on the schedule for both Trump and Cape Girardeau's very own Rush and our very own Sean Hannity. One of the themes, these rallies around the country in the swing states and the big races, continues to be jobs, not mobs. Right?
Yep.
We offer jobs. The Democrats offer mobs, both of the PHAT variety as well as the illegal immigrant variety. And wonder if that has any registration with suburban moms. Really good piece at amgreatness.com by Julie Kelly, who's a suburban mom here.
Oh, really?
I think she hails from
County?
Orland Park.
Okay.
Hey, girlfriend, what's up? Love the new Montclair vest. Is that what it is?
Well, you're asking me about women's fashion?
Well,
Montclair.
I don't know.
Okay.
Aubergine is the hot color this fall.
Oh, nice.
How's Olivia doing with those college applications? Good luck on Jacob's big lacrosse tourney this weekend.
Oh, that's perfect.
Listen, we need to talk. I know you're not really into politics, even though a lot of us voted for Trump in 2016. You did not. Since Election Day, you've bragged about how edgy it was to vote for Evan McMillan. But you also thought it was edgy when you got your hair cut like Kate Gosselin in 2006. We all make mistakes. Yeah. This is piercingly
awesome.
Fun. I know you hate taking advice from someone who doesn't buy soy milk and organic bison meat.
Oh.
But if you would have listened to me about the rum chata shots at the club summer party, you wouldn't have jumped into the water hazard on the 18th hole. Caution, my friend. Because despite what Democrats are telling you now, just remember one thing. They hate you. I know this sounds shocking, but what about the PHATs and the Me Too warriors and the nevertheless she persisted stand against the patriarchy, you ask? You don't really think they're defending do you? The college-educated women who quit working to raise her family, the mom who organized every school party and chaperoned every field trip and drove to every practice music lesson game for years, the same mom who now stays up until the wee hours editing college essays and scheduling campus visits, the wife who dutifully attends every business dinner, matches her husband's socks, and lets him go on the guy's golf trip to Naples every winter, the woman who goes to Catholic Mass each Sunday and makes homemade soup for the neighbor when she's sick or after her mom passes away. Sorry, girl, they've got nothing for you. You are the woman they mock and whisper about behind your back. Think about it. When was the last time you heard a Democrat say, "Here's a shout out to all the snack moms in Naperville"?
This is scrumptious. Go on.
Not only do they hate you, writes Julie Kelly, they hate your husband and your son even more. White men are the enemy.
That's right.
Democrats have all but abandoned white men as a voting bloc, instead demonizing them as racist, homophobic, anti-Semitic, white supremacists, rapists in waiting. I know you were angry at what happened to Kavanaugh and his family. If it can happen to Kavanaugh, someone with all the right friends, right pedigree, right political circle, yes, it can happen to any man on a smaller scale. Since you're right to worry about that could happen when Jacob goes off to college in a few years after he could be branded as a sexual predator for trying to get to second base with an alpha phi after a tailgate bash. It's vividly descriptive.
This is wonderful.
Look, I get it. You don't like Trump. You don't like his tweets, even though you're not on Twitter. You hate you hate that he's cocky and aggressive and mean to his enemies. The pundits think Trump's behavior offends the delicate sensibilities of the typical suburban mom. But maybe that's because they've never seen you in action. Like the time the swim coach cut Olivia from the relay team, or when the AP economics teacher wouldn't give Jacob an A to keep him on the high honor roll. The way you chewed out the principal would have made Trump give you his signature thumbs up. Have these city slicker pundits never seen suburban moms at Nordstrom's half-yearly sale? Just hear what comes out of our buxom, glossed mouths when Whole Foods is out of fresh burrata.
Oh, this is so real.
Please, we can handle a little Sleepy Eyes Chuck and Pocahontas teasing, can't we? Here's something to think about. Even if you want to elect a Democrat because you don't like Trump, Trump will still be president on Wednesday morning. Your grudge vote will do nothing to tame him or rein him in or punish him. It could end up backfiring on you and your family. So I won't tell you what to do, just offering some GMO-free food for thought. Julie Kelly. Open letter to suburban moms, 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line, 64636DA, turnkey.pro text line.
Do we know her, or is that her real name?
Yeah. Is Julie Kelly? Yeah, we've had her on the show.
Oh, that is fantastic.
Yeah, very good.
That is the most well-written article, open letter I've ever seen in my life.
I tweeted it out at Dan Proft. The suburban moms that you know lean left or just don't like Trump, and so they think that, particularly in Illinois, they think that tomorrow's election is about Trump.
Oh, they all do.
Yeah, well,
They all do.
You should share this article with them.
Oh, I'm forwarding that to, you know who I'm forwarding that to.
It should be everybody in as far and wide in this subset of the electorate as you can get, because it's not just for Roscom and Hultgren.
No.
It's also suburban moms. You know, you get it. You're heads of the household in most instances.
And, yeah,
so
99% of the instances.
Right. So, White House or your house? You worried about who's in the White House, which is not going to be impacted by your vote tomorrow?
No.
Or are you worried about saving your house if you live in Illinois?
Well, I always ask my friend, do you trust Democrats to handle your tax dollars, to not raise your property taxes? We have the lowest unemployment numbers in years and more money in our paychecks. So why fix something that's not broken? Just to send a message because they don't like his tweets, because they don't like the way President Trump cheated on his wife? Well, you know what? Maybe your husband had some little infidelity issues too, okay? Get over it. It happened a long time ago. It's true. People are holding grudges, and people just think that President Trump being in office is just re-victimizing them from when some other man did something bad to them. They have to separate the issues.
I also like the sort of the tenor of Julie Kelly's piece, because she is essentially saying
But you're not perfect too, and you've made mistakes.
Well,
and you've bullied too.
She's saying more than that. She's saying, why would you let the D.C. press corps treat you like, you're as fragile as a Fabergé egg, right? Have they never seen suburban moms at the half-yearly sale at Nordstrom, or when Whole Foods is out of fresh burrata? We can handle a little teasing, can't we? They're not so delicate and so quick to offense, right? Suburban moms are tough, is what Julie Kelly is saying, and they're treated as they're not, right?
I like the portion when she talked about the principal's office, going in there and, demanding what she thinks is rightfully hers.
When you rally to the defense of your kids.
Right, and that's President Trump is rallying to the defense of the American citizens. There's a lot of parallels there.
Well, we're going to find out if Julie Kelly's instincts with respect to suburban moms are correct or not. Illinois, it may be different than in other states, but I really appreciate Julie Kelly's GMO-free food for thought.
Connect with Dan and Amy on the AM 560 The Answer mobile app. Just text the word app to 64636 to download the app today.
This is Dan Proft with 60 Seconds of Sanity for Upstream-Ideas.com. Potty-mouthed DNC Chairman Tom Perez said bigotry is on the ballot in the midterm election. True, but it's the left's bigotry. The most enduring takeaway from this election cycle is that the left has one and only one solution to every policy challenge: bigot baiting. Spin the wheel, pick an issue, advocate for border security by using the very real example of an illegal immigrant cop killer, and CNN's Kate Bolden calls you a racist. Defend an individual's Second Amendment right to self-protection, and you're conspiring with white supremacists and quote-unquote demonizing Jews, as former DNC Chairman Howard Dean said of President Trump. Support voter ID laws to protect every American's franchise, and you're in the business of preventing poor and black people from voting, said CNN legal analyst Jeffrey Toobin, exist as a white man, and you're by definition part of the greatest terror threat facing America, per CNN's Don Lemon, and are likely to be radicalized to commit a hate-inspired crime by President Trump, according to GQ's Julia Ioffe. The Democrat socialists live at the intersection of vacuous identity politics and mindless rage. It's a dangerous neighborhood and a terrible place to locate a country.
The following is a paid political announcement.
Hi, this is Congressman Randy Hultgren. I want to tell you why I'm running for re-election to the U.S. House of Representatives and to ask for your support. I've accomplished a lot during my time in Congress. We have the lowest unemployment in years and a record number of new jobs. We've cut taxes, passed regulatory reform, put ISIS on their heels, and repealed the individual mandate of Obamacare. But there's still a lot to be done, and that's why I'm asking for your vote. We need healthcare reform that lowers costs and expands choices while continuing to protect the coverage of those with pre-existing conditions, which I've worked for and supported my entire career. We must reduce the size and scope as well as the cost of the federal government, and we have to protect programs for our seniors and veterans. You don't have to wait until November 6th to cast your vote. You can vote today at any one of the early voting locations in your county. For more information and to help find the location in your neighborhood, visit randyhultgren.com/early voting. I'm so grateful for your continued support, and together we will keep working for the 14th District and for Illinois, paid for by Hultgren for Congress.
This car I'm driving, I overpaid big time. It was such a mistake. I should have just gone to Carfax.com, but I went to some other site. They gave me a price range? Oh, they were way off. Son of a...
Carfax has a better way. When you search used cars at Carfax.com, you get the most accurate price based on the Carfax report, so you never have to overpay on a used car again. Start your used car search today at Carfax.com.
Bad theater seats, cheap Halloween masks, my apartment, all things with obstructed views. Add to these large trucks and buses. 18-wheelers and large buses have big blind spots, and like my apartment, they don't always have the best view. Bus and truck drivers deal with blind spots around the entire vehicle. Always take care not to ride alongside or too close behind them. Our roads, our safety. Learn more at sharetheroadsafely.gov.
You've heard of living trusts and how they can help protect your assets, but you may not know if a living trust is right for you. Or maybe you have questions about creating your own living trust. The fact is, almost everyone can benefit from a living trust, which can protect your assets from the court system and your loved ones from unnecessary expense and inconvenience. Learn more at a free seminar Wednesday, November 7th at Papa Joe's Restaurant in Orland Park. Estate planning attorney Robert Zapolis will explain how to create your own living trust, estate planning under the new tax laws, why a will does not avoid probate, and more. Have your estate planning and living trust questions answered absolutely free. Don't miss this important seminar, Wednesday, November 7th at 6:30 at Papa Joe's Restaurant, 145th and LaGrange Road in Orland Park. The seminar is free and a complimentary dinner is served, but you must make a reservation now. Call 708-478-1400. 708-478-1400.
I'm Amy Errett, founder of Madison Reed, a hair color company I named after my daughter. It's very meaningful to me when I hear customers talk about how Madison Reed at-home hair color has changed their lives. Here's Vicky, one of our very first customers.
Coloring my own hair is easier than I ever imagined. The best part, I no longer have to sit in a salon and pay over $100 to have this done. Now I color it when it's convenient for me, and it takes less than an hour. People compliment me on how great my color is, and my hair is incredibly soft and healthy looking.
Experience beautiful, multi-dimensional, ammonia-free, salon-quality color for under $25. Join the hundreds of thousands of women who have tried and loved Madison Reed. Find your perfect shade at madison-reed.com and get 10% off plus free shipping on your first color kit. Use code TOP. That's code TOP. Try it. Love it. That's the beauty of Madison Reed.
Hey guys, Ken here from the hit podcast Today's Growth. We all know increasing revenue's tough, but did you know that 100% of main sources of income fail? The odds are 100% that your current main source of income will someday no longer exist. 439 of 1955's original Fortune 500 are no longer around, yet their industries and even their product lines still thrive. What happened to these companies? Simple. They didn't believe that 100% of main sources of income fail. They never added a second revenue model. For years, my friends at Income Store have helped both households and businesses build second, third, and even fourth revenue streams. When it comes to helping people create their next revenue model, both Forbes and Inc. recommend Income Store as a can't miss. Could your household or business use an additional revenue model that doesn't solely depend on you? If so, you need to check out IncomeStore.com. That's IncomeStore.com.
AM 560, The Answer.
Dan and Amy, so just picking up on Julie Kelly's open letter to suburban moms. They hate you, she reminds suburban moms. They hate you. So does SNL. You think it's just parody, but of course it's mocking one side. And there was a couple of rather important examples of Saturday Night Live.
Well, which one do you want to start with? Pete Davidson, maybe? Yeah.
All right.
Well, he made there was a segment about weird-looking congressional candidates, and he decided to rip on, Navy SEAL Dan Crenshaw.
Dan Crenshaw. You may be surprised to hear he's a congressional candidate from Texas. I'm sorry, I know he lost his eye in war or whatever.
Yeah, he's weird-looking, gross-looking because he wears an eye patch because he lost his eye when an IED exploded while he was serving our country.
5 deployments to Afghanistan. Navy SEAL. He took it in stride, though, Crenshaw. He said, I don't need an apology.
I want us to get away from this culture where we demand apologies every time someone misspeaks. I think that would be very healthy for our nation to go in that direction. We don't need to be outwardly outraged. I don't need to demand apologies from them. They can do whatever they want. They're feeling the heat from around the country right now, and that's fine. But I would like him and Saturday Night Live to recognize something, which is that veterans across the country probably don't feel as though their wounds they received in battle should be the subject of a bad punchline for a bad joke. And here's the real atrocity of all this. It wasn't even funny, right? It was not original. It was not funny. It was just mean-spirited. And that's how I feel.
And the best response was the NRCC spokesperson released a statement. This is the best. Getting dumped by your pop star girlfriend is no excuse for lashing out at a decorated war hero.
Yeah, Dan Crenshaw actually has the best response, and the best exactly. Why demand an apology from somebody whose word is meaningless? What does Pete Davidson or SNL's apology mean? And what's the level of sincerity with which you should receive it? Nonsense, exactly. Crenshaw is precisely right. I certainly hope he gets elected. Just let them expose themselves as who they are. Mm-hmm. This was revelatory, or should have been. I mean, it shouldn't need to be at this juncture with SNL, but it's another prime example just for you to file away.
What are they going to do? I mean, next week, rip on Brent Taylor, the mayor of Ogden, Utah, who was killed over the weekend? Oh, is this really funny?
If they want to, if that's what they think is funny, they have that platform. Go ahead, Lorne Michaels. Keep suborning that kind of comedy, quote unquote.
Yeah, it was not funny. It was deplorable. It was embarrassing.
Hopefully it's motivational. That got all of the attention, but the cold open should have got some attention too.
Did you watch it?
It was
wow.
A parody of Laura Ingram's show.
Yeah, and they had David Clark on there.
Mm-hmm. And here's the parody of Laura Ingram on voting.
Now, leading up to the midterms, there's a lot of awful voter suppression going on. That's why I'm proud to present a new segment called Fox News Tips for Black and Hispanic Voters. We want to make sure your voices are heard. So tip 1, never vote on Tuesdays. The crowds are the absolute worst on Tuesdays. Tip number 2, ballots can be confusing. If you see R next to a name, that means really a Democrat. And the letter D means that's a Republican. And tip 3, you already voted. You might not remember voting, but you did, so just relax. And those tips were brought to you by Medical Sneakers. Jealous of your nurse's style? Get Medical Sneakers. And American Jesus commemorative plates. See Jesus the way he really was as an American.
The funny thing is, it's not even parody because Jeffrey Toobin, a CNN legal analyst, said the same thing last week. We played it on Friday, that right. Republicans are just in the business of trying to stop poor people and blacks from voting. Real funny. Real funny. All right, just file that away when they show you who they are. You think, was that good comedy?
Yeah. Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Closing argument from State Representative Mark Batnick out Plainfield Way at 6:06.
And later, look who's noticeably absent from the campaign trail. We'll explain. But first, let's get into the newsroom with news from here at home and around the world. Very busy man today and tomorrow. Here is Mike Scott.
Amy and Dan, here are the stories we're watching today. A deadly hit and run in Ford Heights. The former President Barack Obama campaigns for Democrats on the stump here in Chicago and in Northwest Indiana. A man dies, a woman missing after going swimming in Lake Michigan. A man hurt, 2 missing after a car crashes into the Calumet River. The Bears pound the Bills in Buffalo while the Bulls take on the Knicks tonight, and a cloudy, rainy day ahead in your forecast with a high of 52. WIND Chicago News Time is 6 o'clock.
President Trump will hit 3 more states today. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. Ohio, Indiana, and Missouri.
This election will decide whether we build on this extraordinary prosperity that we've created.
Or the president told a rally in Tennessee.
Whether we let the radical Democrats take a giant wrecking ball to our economy and to our future.
He also campaigned for Republicans in Georgia ahead of tomorrow's midterm elections, again railing against the caravan of Central American migrants headed here. Former President Obama critical of that campaigning in Indiana.
They're even using our brave troops, sending them down as a political stunt.
The former president also rallied in Illinois, optimistic about Democrats' chances Tuesday.
I'm hopeful because out of this political darkness across the country, I'm seeing a great awakening of citizenship.
Now, Democrats hope they can win back the House, and
Democrats in the Senate see a narrow path to possibly gaining the majority. You heard that right. They need a net total of 2 seats to take the majority from Republicans, who have a 51-49 majority. The 5 states that are in the toss-up column are Florida here, as well as Nevada, Missouri, Indiana, and Arizona.
Fox's Griff Jenkins in Orlando. New sanctions slapped on Iran go into place today, targeting finances and oil 6 months after the U.S. pulled out of the international nuclear deal. What's Iran's reaction? Fox's Simon Owen details it live from London.
Dave, Iran's President Hassan Rouhani saying this is an economic war situation. He said Iran is standing up to a bullying enemy, likening President Trump to former Iraqi dictator Saddam Hussein. Rouhani has also warned Iranians that there may be some difficult months ahead, but he pledged that Iran would proudly bypass the sanctions and continue selling its oil. Dave?
And Simon, trial starts today for one of the most notorious drug lords in New York City, a man known as El Chapo. This is Fox News.
Cloudy skies, some light rain showers. 45 degrees at 6:02 on AM 560. The Answer. Good morning. I'm Mike Scott. Authorities are investigating a deadly hit-and-run crash overnight in Ford Heights. Cook County Sheriff's Office says a person was struck by a vehicle last night while walking in the roadway near Lincoln Highway and Transportation Drive. The driver took off following the incident. Jury selection begins this morning in the trial of drug lord Joaquin El Chapo Guzman, who's accused of numerous drug offenses, many here in Chicago, and of using violence and intimidation en route to becoming one of the world's richest drug lords. The trial was early on set to be in Chicago, but eventually was allowed to proceed in the state of New York. An Itasca man is dead and an Elgin woman missing after the two went swimming in Lake Michigan in Highland Park. Authorities say the pair began struggling after going into the water with the group yesterday morning at a polar plunge type event at Park Avenue Beach. Emergency responders located the man in the choppy water, then took him to the hospital. He was pronounced dead later, while crews were unable to locate the woman. Police are searching for 2 men who went missing after a vehicle crashed into the Calumet River in Chicago's far south side near 136th and Calhoun. Illinois Governor Bruce Rauner campaigning tonight in the western suburbs ahead of tomorrow's election, rallying at Benedictine University in Lisle. Campaign stops were made around the state yesterday by the governor, including St. Charles and Orland Park. Former President Barack Obama stumped for Illinois Democrats at UIC yesterday.
You get to vote in what I believe will be the most important election of our lifetimes.
House Speaker Paul Ryan campaigned in Illinois over the weekend, spending time in the Chicago suburbs and going side by side with Congressman Randy Hultgren. Nearly 1 million people in Illinois will have one thing less to do tomorrow. The State Board of Elections saying over 800,000 have already voted this year, and early vote numbers go through tomorrow and are expected to be high. Jordan Howard scored a pair of touchdowns as the first-place Bears pound the Bills 41-9 in Buffalo. Bulls are in New York tonight to take on the Knicks. The news, a service of Compassion International. Sponsoring a child with compassion is the most effective way to end extreme child poverty. Release a child from poverty when you become a Compassion sponsor, and choose your child now at compassion.com/radio. Do your part to release a child from poverty today. 6:04 and a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Sean Hannity sees a shaky foundation.
Now that there's irrefutable and incontrovertible evidence that it's the highest-ranking members of the FBI and DOJ that are involved in nefarious activities and abuse of power to prevent one person from becoming president, the house of cards is beginning to tumble.
The Sean Hannity Show. Afternoons at 2, right before Joe Walsh at 5 on AM 560. The Answer.
The following is a paid political announcement.
Rich, poor, Republican, Democrat, we're all the same when it comes to property taxes.
We're not going to be living in Illinois anymore, and it's due to the property taxes.
Go to SaveYourHomeNow.org. You stay. The politicians go. Liberty Principles paid for this ad and is solely responsible for its content.
All money managers may seem pretty much the same. But while some money managers may recommend high-commission investment products, Fisher Investments avoids them. Some money managers may have hidden and layered fees. Fisher Investments never does. And while some money managers are happy to earn commissions from you, whether you do well or not, Fisher Investments fees are structured so we do better when you do better. In other words, we're structured to be on your side. Maybe that's why most of our clients come to us from other money managers. Talk with us and find out why so many experienced investors are switching to and staying with Fisher Investments. Fisher Investments, clearly better money management. Investments in securities involve the risk of loss. Visit us at FisherInvestments.com to find out what we can do for you.
Get ready to make Range Day more awesome. Here's the perfect gift for the gun owner on your list, or for yourself, a Hackett Equipment Range backpack. The Hackett Equipment Range backpack comes in 3 styles of Covert quality range backpacks that hold 2 to 4 pistols and carry a lifetime warranty. There's also an attachable rifle bag, tactical shooting glasses, all at affordable prices. You can even join the Hackett Equipment Army with a Hackett Equipment Pocket Pistol t-shirt. Hackett Equipment is a Chicago-based company that shares your values, and they'd like to share a smoking hot discount just for AM 560 listeners. Get 20% off all Hackett Equipment online products for a limited time with promo code AM 560. Plus, all orders over $100 receive free shipping on top of your 20% discount. Make trips to the shooting range easier and more fun by taking everything you need for a day at the range hands-free. Visit gunrangebags.com and see for yourself why Hackett Equipment bags have endless 5-star reviews. Have a blast at the shooting range and save 20% plus free shipping on orders over $100 with promo code AM560. Gunrangebags.com, promo code AM560.
The following is a paid political announcement.
Hi, I'm Jesse White. I have lived my life with one simple philosophy: give back and serve others. I bring that philosophy to everything that I do, whether it is supporting at-risk, low-income youth in their educational pursuits, or literally reaching for the stars as a part of the Jesse White Tumblers. I bring that same philosophy to the Illinois Secretary of State's office every day. We have enhanced customer service at our driver's license facilities throughout the state, with shorter wait times and priority service for seniors and veterans. We have made our roads safer by changing driver's education requirements and actually lowering driving deaths of our young people by over 50%. And we have created one of the most successful organ and tissue donor programs in the nation, with over 6.3 million registered donors helping to save lives of countless recipients. But there's still more to do to make our roads safer and to give others that helping hand. That's why I'm asking for your vote on November the 6th. I'm Jesse White, Illinois Secretary of State. Thank you.
Paid for by Citizens for Jesse White.
Amazon is raising the bar on wages. Amazon's U.S. employees now earn at least $15 an hour in the Chicago area. Learn more and apply at amazon.com/Chicago Jobs. Amazon's an equal opportunity employer.
6:08, check on the roads in the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center. Here's Jim Talamonte.
Eastbound Adams Tollway I-90 traffic is stop and go for the Tri-State out of the Kennedy, with the delays continue to around Central Avenue. 25 minutes O'Hare to downtown. Outbound, it's 30 delays starting around Central, continuing to the airport. Stop and go on westbound 190 from the Kennedy to the Tri-State. The Eden's looking good at the south. About Eisenhower, scattered delays start at Wolf. 35 minutes, 390 to downtown, outbound 30. Bound Stevenson looking at about 44 minutes, 355 to Lakeshore Drive. Ryan, 22 minutes, 95 to downtown. I-57, 19 minutes, I-80 to the merge. Bishop Ford, 22. No delays to report right now on I-80 or in northwest Indiana. That's traffic. I'm Jim Talamonte from the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center on AM 560 The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the 1-hour heating and air conditioning weather center and meteorologist Kevin Snyder.
Mostly cloudy day with a little late afternoon rain, high 52. Rain will continue through the night tonight with a low of 44. Then tomorrow turning out to be a mostly cloudy and windy day with gusts up to 30 miles per hour, high of 50. I'm Kevin Snyder on AM 560, The Answer.
45 at O'Hare. Next news at 6:30. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Papa Nicholas Coffee. Papa Nicholas, best beans, best roast, best coffee.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy, and another closing argument on deck. Suburban Madigan finance character assassins that dominating your airwaves and your mailboxes. All Madigan money, whether it's incumbent Democrats or Democrats challenging Republican incumbents, same rap, extreme, same silliness, accusing people and Republican candidates of wanting to cut, that are running for state legislative office, wanting to cut federal programs. The same okey doke, is that the phrase President Obama likes? Well, let me borrow it. The same okey doke that they run on suburban families every cycle. Why do they keep running it? Because it keeps working. Is it going to work tomorrow? Well, it's up to you and up to the quality of the campaigns run by suburban Republicans, including incumbent Mark Batnick, a Republican from Plainfield, who joins us now. Mark, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having me on.
So you've been subject to some rather unique character assassination, sort of a one-off commercial that's not being run against some of the other candidates. Your opposition to rape kit testing. Your opposition to rape kits for victims of sexual assault. That seems like an odd position for you to take. Perhaps you could provide some context.
Well, it's tough to actually provide context, but here's the basis of their accusation. So if there's a 700-page bill that gets dropped on my desk with an hour to vote on it, that is a $7 billion out of whack budget, and you say, hey, this makes no sense. I can't vote for a budget that's $7 billion out of whack. They'll slide, page 257 out of it and say, oh, well, in this budget that was, $7 billion out of whack, this budget included funding for veterans' homes or funding for rape kit testing. So you must be against it. So that's literally the basis for their advertising, which is just absurd.
Of course it is. But the question is, do you think it's penetrating? I mean, how much feedback are you getting when you go door to door or go to community events about those ads and those accusations?
Well, what's unique about this is, had it been done, let's say, with a month to go in the election, or even 2-3 weeks left to go in the election, you'd have a better idea of you have the ability to respond to it.
Right.
There's been close to $1 million spent against me the last 7 days of the election. It's kind of unprecedented spending for a state rep race. It's more typical of what would happen in a congressional race. So I don't know. We're gonna know Tuesday, to be frank. We're gonna know Tuesday to see if they pulled the wool over the eyes of voters one more time.
Well, how do you process this personally? Because it's so ridiculous, and we can see through what's really happening. But some people that don't study it, how do you explain it to them?
Well, I explained just how I did, how we process it in the household is we've watched a lot of Netflix the last couple of days.
Okay.
But we certainly have spoken to voters, and there's so much slander basically thrown out there that I think that people are turned off to it. The one thing that I've pushed for months, really years, is I've always pushed solutions. And when somebody throws some outrageous accusation like that the last week, I don't know if it has the same penetration ability that it might have otherwise had. So, like I said, we're going to find out Tuesday night for sure, but it doesn't seem to have the effect that maybe my opponent has wanted.
Yeah, I mean, the demonization and people kind of losing all sense of grounding. I mean, I wouldn't believe that ad, or I would certainly look into it if it was directed at a Democrat. I mean, if somebody's against making sure victims of sexual assault have get the rape kit so they get the necessary evidence to pursue the criminal. I mean, it's just absurd. It's absurd on its face. Who would believe that straight away? But I guess there are so many people that want to believe the absolute worst in particular candidates with a particular letter next to their name that they'll consume anything. The interesting thing, in addition to what you said, Mark, is the funding level. So Madigan late last week dropped to $750,000 on the full rundown of suburban Democrats. You're talking about, because I know that the left hates money in politics. Mike Madigan, in addition to J.B. Pritzker sending all kinds of national records with north of $150 million of his own money spent, Mike Madigan is turning all these suburban races into $2 million state legislative races for a $70,000 job. I mean, it used to be statewide primaries for governor would be in the $2 million range. And now that's every state legislative race in the suburbs. And what does that say about why these races are so important to Madigan and his financiers, the trial lawyers and the public sector unions?
Yeah, I mean, they're doing everything they can to buy every little last seat, and it's really a game of distraction. You haven't seen a whole lot of policy out of these state rep Democrats. You haven't seen these state rep Democrats go on TV and say, here's how I'm going to lower property taxes. Here's how I'm going to deal with workers' compensation reform. Here's how we're going to bring jobs back. Here's how we're going to have a better education system across the board for everybody. They're not talking about how to solve the problems because they don't know how to solve the problems. What they're talking about is made up things because that's the only way they can win. They look at this as a thing like it's a football game. It's the Bears versus the Packers, and we're the Bears and there's the Packers, and we're going to do anything we can to win. And it shouldn't be about that. It should be about how do we make the state of Illinois better for its citizenry? And I can tell you, you're not seeing that from the other side. Now, I don't have a couple $1 million to spend on my campaign, but I've spent months holding a series of dinners throughout my district talking about solutions. I've made videos on how to solve the problems that are facing the state. And those are the things that should matter to the voters.
Okay, because we know property taxes are high across Illinois, but they're exceptionally high in the 97th district. So what can you do to try and help lower property taxes? What are you telling your constituents?
Yeah, there's things across the board, but this is one of the most egregious things. So we have nearly 700 separate downstate pension systems. Most states have 10. The problem with that is you have nearly 700 boards and administrators. That alone, those extra boards and administrators cost us $33 million a year in property tax revenue. But the most egregious part is because it's a bunch of small systems, they get a lower rate of return. Big systems have better managers. They have access to better investments. They make about 2 points more. There's $12 to $13 billion invested in these small pension systems. That's $240 to $260 million a year we're losing because of the way we're set up. Not benefits level, but because of the way we're set up. So you add that together, that's $300 million a year we're losing in property tax revenue just because of the way we're organized. I mean, that's silliness. And when you look at things like workers' compensation reform, guess what? Local businesses or local municipalities have to pay workers' compensation insurance. If my school district had average workers' compensation costs, my school district would save about $500,000 a year. Once again, that's something that would go directly to property tax relief.
And interesting, suburban Democrats being financed by Madigan, a property tax appeals attorney, in case you didn't know, refuse even to oppose a proposed 1% of home value property tax increase in addition to what you're paying at present to try to pay down some of the unfunded pension liabilities over the next 30 years. So they're not only not doing some of the thinking about some of the savings that you're talking about, Mark, they're also withholding opposition to ratcheting up your property taxes significantly more. I mean, a $250,000 home, that would be $2,500 an additional increment over what you're paying now. And you know what happens in Illinois when a politician is unwilling to oppose a tax hike of any sort. That means it's coming.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, I got to correct something I said. I said that Madigan Democrats aren't proposing any solutions. They are. They propose more money. It's always about more money, whether it's a progressive tax increase or the tax increase you mentioned. That's your solution. That's the way they look at the way they look at the world and the way they see it.
So how do you frame the choice for voters out your way in the Plainfield area, but also generally in the suburbs tomorrow?
In the suburbs, the choice is real simple. A vote for a Democratic state rep is a vote to expand and seal Mike Madigan's power. Vote for me in my race is a vote for somebody who looks at problems and tries to solve them. So you got a problem solver versus a Madigan disciple.
And also, just more evidence of Mark Batnick's good judgment. He is married to a Bennett Academy graduate.
Oh my! Now he is.
So that should seal it
for sure.
Yeah. All right, Mark Batnick.
In case anybody hadn't heard that on this radio station.
Oh no! Yeah, I've never known that about you.
Well, it's nice that you're married
makes good choices,
to
is
somebody
what
who
this
graduated
says.
from the best high school in the state. So you got Batnick's got a backstop at home in case he strays at all. He's got the wife. That's important.
Yeah. Very true. Very true. Thank you.
Mark Batnick, State Representative, Republican from Plainfield. Thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having me on.
And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
It's like a hot, steaming cup of information to start your day. It's Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
The following is a paid political announcement.
Hi, this is Congressman Randy Hultgren. I want to tell you why I'm running for re-election to the U.S. House of Representatives and to ask for your support. I've accomplished a lot during my time in Congress. We have the lowest unemployment in years and a record number of new jobs. We've cut taxes, passed regulatory reform, put ISIS on their heels, and repealed the individual mandate of Obamacare. But there's still a lot to be done, and that's why I'm asking for your vote. We need healthcare reform that lowers costs and expands choices while continuing to protect the coverage of those with pre-existing conditions, which I've worked for and supported my entire career. We must reduce the size and scope as well as the cost of the federal government, and we have to protect programs for our seniors and veterans. You don't have to wait until November 6th to cast your vote. You can vote today at any one of the early voting locations in your county. For more information and to help find the location in your neighborhood, visit randyhultgren.com/early voting. I'm so grateful for your continued support, and together we will keep working for the 14th District and for Illinois. Paid for by Hultgren for Congress.
The following is a paid political announcement.
I don't respect this president.
The radical liberals in Washington will do anything to stop the president's agenda to make America great again.
I don't trust this president.
They would rather see the country fail.
His motives and his actions are contemptible.
Then fix the problems facing our nation.
And I will fight every day until he is impeached. Impeach 45. Impeach 45.
But Julie Olthoff isn't waiting around for the career politicians in Washington to deliver solutions. Julie Olthoff believes our conservative ideas will give us prosperity and preserve the American dream. That's why Julie has worked with Governor Holcomb to balance Indiana's budget, cut taxes for hardworking Hoosiers, and fully fund the next 20 years of building and maintaining our roads and bridges. Julie Olthoff and Governor Eric Holcomb have Indiana on the right track. Vote Julie Olthoff for state representative on or before November 6th.
Paid for by voters for Julie Olthoff.
The following is a paid political announcement.
Hey, where is Sleepin' Joe Donnelly? A whole caravan of illegal immigrants is headed towards the United States, and Donnelly is silent, not a peep. But in commercials, he pretends to be tough on the border. Ha! Donnelly voted for amnesty and endorsed open borders liberal Hillary Clinton for president.
Sleepy Joe.
Joe Donnelly isn't one of us anymore. He's one of them. Listen to Mike Braun.
Career politicians like Joe Donnelly will say anything to keep their jobs. The truth is, Donnelly voted against Judge Kavanaugh, for the Iran nuclear deal, and even backed Hillary Clinton for president. We deserve better. I spent my career in the real world, creating jobs and getting things done. In Washington, I'll fight to bring back good-paying jobs and fix our health care. I'm Mike Braun. I approve this message, and I ask for your vote.
Paid for by Mike Braun for Indiana.
The following is a paid political announcement.
Did you hear that Tony Preckwinkle and Mike Madigan have spent over $300,000 in ads just to take out Tim Schneider? Tim Schneider is our tax watchdog on the Cook County Board.
No.
Yes, and Tim's opponent, Kevin Morrison, says he wants to create smart new ways to create revenue for Cook County.
That sounds expensive.
It sure does. We need Tim Schneider on the Cook County Board to fight for taxpayers. Now, Tim has never voted for a property tax increase. Tim has never voted for a sales tax increase. Tim Schneider did lead the repeal of that awful soda tax.
Really? I didn't know that.
Yes, and Tim Schneider has been endorsed by the Chicago Sun-Times, Daily Herald, and the Chicago Tribune, each describing him as a champion for taxpayers and for fighting off the Chicago machine. The Tribune said Schneider is an extraordinary board member who is sensitive to the big tax burdens on homeowners and employers.
Well, I already pay too much in taxes. I'm voting for Timothy Owen Schneider.
Paid for by Citizens for Tim Schneider.
AM 560, The Answer.
All right, I got some more closing arguments. We just heard from Mark Batnick, Republican state rep from Plainfield.
Yes.
Now, equal time, want to make sure we get the other side in, too. So
I don't even know who he's running against them.
It doesn't.
I don't even matter. It doesn't. You can't.
Don't
And
worry
honestly, if you try and look it up online, you have to struggle to find it.
I get closing arguments from Biden, from Democrat Socialist It Girl / Middle East policy expert Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, and the silver-tongued Sean Casten. Which would you like to hear?
Well, and then we also too have angry Obama.
Yeah, that's not one of my my three choices. So which of
can I
those
play
three?
this? Let's go with Casten.
All right, here's Sean Casten making his closing argument in.
Did you have Dan Savage with him?
Traditionally suburban Republican district. He's running against Roscoe.
You have one political party in the country, which shall remain nameless, that has a vested interest in uneducated voters.
Sure. Right.
I mean, Fox News exists to make people stupid.
What?
All right. So there's for you kind of open-minded, independent-oriented suburbanites. There's Sean Casten.
That's mean.
Telling you if you're a centrist or center-right voter, you're an idiot.
Well, no, we're stupid. That's what he's saying. I don't like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All right. What about our cat? What's her name?
Oh, Ocasio-Cortez. Oh, she did it by Twitter. Yeah.
What did she?
She's not so good when she's has to ask questions. In a setting where she has to answer questions, so she just issues edicts.
Well, she's 27 years old or something.
Mm-hmm. Something. 6 days from now, we can defeat the brutal white supremacist forces of anti-Semitism, anti-immigrant nativism, and racism. We can hold accountable the cold-hearted monsters who have repeatedly attacked our health care. We can send a message to the bigots and billionaires, not including Tom Steyer and Michael Bloomberg, that this country, George Soros, that this country belongs to all of us. We can win if we show up November 6th. We must end Republican control of Congress to begin to reclaim our nation. There you go. So if you're not with Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, delicate flower that she is, you're a cold-hearted monster, you're a brutal white supremacist, you're an anti-Semite, you're a nativist, you're a racist. All right? Oh, and if you smart off, Joe Biden's got a union boss for you. Joe Biden campaigning in North Dakota for
Heidi Heitkamp, yeah.
Former,
and he lost his voice.
Yeah, former United States Senator Heidi Heitkamp.
It says they don't have a very high threshold for pain. Well, I get that president of the trade union is up here. He'll show them a threshold of pain.
Yeah, president of trade union will knock some heads around, show Republicans, Trump supporters, a high threshold for pain.
You know, they were all canvassing. You had Eric Holder, you had Elizabeth Warren, you had Cory Booker, you had all
the stars.
Except for Hillary Clinton was noticeably absent. I looked all weekend to see. She was gone, and Bill Clinton. Do you notice how they did that? They did not have them out at all campaigning anywhere, even in the smallest of states.
Speaking
they
of
were nowhere to be found.
Speaking of Crocodile, did you see Brent Musburger's tweet? Brent Musburger.
What did my guys do?
Tweeted a picture of Trump at a rally in Montana.
Yeah, in Belgrade, Montana.
With Native Americans behind him with headdresses on.
That was nice.
And Brent Musburger's tweet, oh, look, Elizabeth Warren's relatives showed up at a Trump rally. Hey, way to go, Brent.
Whoa.
Yeah.
That's pretty edgy for a 70-year-old guy.
Jim in Tampa, Florida.
Good morning, guys. I just don't know how anybody still lives in Illinois. And Dan, and Amy, both, I congratulate you for fighting the good fight. People don't vote Republican tomorrow. I just don't know why they're there. It's like when you've got a basement and you don't want to clean it out, so you just let it go year after year. When you finally clean it out, you say, why didn't I do this years ago? That's what you're going to feel like when you get out of here or when you change things.
Thanks for the call, Jim.
Wow. Well, I have to stay here for 4 more years.
What
about you, Dan?
I do not. I don't have to stay here for 4 more minutes. Scott and Aurora, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Hey, I got a 2-part kind of question here, so just bear with me on the second one. But, you know, I played into just what you guys were just talking about. I think in 2006 and 2007, when the economy went bad, I remember you could drive around any neighborhood and you'd see lots and lots of empty houses. Back then, I think people could move out easier because they were losing the houses. Now I think it's more, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but if you're going to move out of Illinois, you have to sell your house.
Yeah, that's the problem.
But you have to have somebody replace you in the house, and it's going to be tough to sell that house. So that's probably why you still have a lot of the people living here in Illinois. Unfortunately, I live in a county where our taxes aren't completely crazy. I'm in Kendall. But, you know, as far as that goes, I think that's part of the thing. I mean, do you think people still losing their houses at a record rate as they were in 2006 and 2007?
Yeah, thanks for the call, Scott. Scott, sorry, I can't get to the second part, but you know, you make a very good point, and that is exactly right. People can't get out from underneath their house without taking a bath, and they're hoping that somehow things are going to improve, turn around, so they don't take a bath. That's not going to happen. It's just going to continue to get worse, but they may be in, like Amy's situation, you have kids in school and you're locked in here for the kids or for a job.
Oh, yeah.
I get that. But that is what's keeping people here, but your home equity is being whittled away with each passing day. That's just a fact. And, boy, if there's a downturn in the economy, then you'll see exactly what you saw back when the bubble burst in 2008, except it'll be much worse, and it'll be much worse here.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
We'll talk a little bit about the economy. Perfect segue. Larry Kudlow weighed in about the October jobs report on Friday. We'll get some reviews from Jim Urio, CNBC contributor, at 6:36.
And Arizona's next U.S. Senator will be a woman, but guess which one can sing the national anthem? We'll have it for you. But first, let's get into the newsroom. Here's Mike Scott.
Clouds 45 degrees. Members of the team from Saudi Arabia sent to help Turkish authorities investigate the killing of guest columnist Jamal Khashoggi. Worked for the Washington Post for a time. Instead, removed evidence of that slaying, according to senior Turkish investigators. The official confirmed a report in Turkey's Sabah newspaper that an 11-member Saudi team were experts in chemistry and toxicology and reportedly were charged with obfuscating the evidence in that case. Renewed U.S. sanctions are now in effect, but Iran's President Hassan Rouhani said on state TV today his country will continue to try and sell oil. Stakes are high in the midterms tomorrow. Voters will pick who controls the U.S. House and Senate. President Trump is not on the ballot, of course, but he's been rallying around the country.
So if you want more caravans and you want more crime, vote Democrat. It's very simple. If you want strong borders and safe communities, vote Republican.
Meantime, Senator Mark Warner said yesterday on CBS's Face the Nation, election security, in his mind, is much stronger than it was in years past.
DHS has been doing a very good job in terms of working with individual election registrars.
The Virginia Democrat complimenting the Trump relationship on a good relationship on elections with Democrats and Republicans and the states. Authorities continue to investigate a deadly hit-and-run crash in Ford Heights. Cook County sheriffs say the person was struck by a vehicle walking in the roadway near Lincoln Highway and Transportation Drive, and the driver took off following the incident. Police are searching for two men who went missing after a vehicle crashed into the Calumet River on Chicago's far south side. Jordan Howard, a pair of scores. Bears pound the Bills in Buffalo, 41-9. The Bulls in New York to take on the Knicks. The news, a service of Smart911.com. Get Smart Chicago. Smart 911 is here. Enroll now at smart911.com to create your safety profile, which will better help first responders get you the help you need. Enroll now at smart911.com. 6:34 and a check of traffic and weather coming up next on AM 560.
Not a day goes by without a terrorist attack somewhere in the world, or violence right here in our own streets. It can be paralyzing, which is why we're here at AM 560. We try to make sense of it all, but sometimes you're looking for deeper understanding of life's most troubling issues. We'd like to encourage you to check out our sister station, AM 1160, Hope for Your Life. We'll still be here when you come back, but give them a listen at AM 1160 or online at 1160hope.com, because even when you have the answers, you still need hope.
The following is a paid political announcement.
Rich, poor, Republican, Democrat, we're all the same when it comes to property taxes.
We're not going to be living in Illinois anymore, and it's due to the property taxes.
Go to SaveYourHomeNow.org. You stay. The politicians go. Liberty Principles paid for this ad and is solely responsible for its content.
Want your home's furnace to stay safe and reliable? And want to prevent any potential problems before they happen? At your local 1 Hour Heating and Air Conditioning, we recommend an annual furnace inspection and tune-up. Right now, get a $79 furnace tune-up. Call 855-1-HOUR. Because not taking care of your furnace, that's just cold.
Your comfort is just a call away. Call 1 Hour.
Terms and conditions may apply. Call for details. Independently owned and operated. Licensed in the respective state or county.
The following is a paid political announcement.
Hello, voters of DuPage County. My name is Chris Randall, and I'm a veteran of 2 combat deployments. Today, I'm speaking with you about the toughest and best commander I've ever had, Kevin Wiley. He's running for DuPage County District 6 County Board. I've been in some tough situations in my life and served with some of the finest Americans in our nation. And I can confidently say today that Kevin Wiley was the finest commander I've ever worked for. In an army of great leaders, he was primus inter pares, first among equals. Please vote for my friend and commander, Kevin Wiley, for DuPage County District 6.
Paid for by Wiley for DuPage County. The following is a paid political announcement.
Hey, where is Sleepin' Joe Donnelly? A whole caravan of illegal immigrants is headed towards the United States, and Donnelly is silent, not a peep. But in commercials, he pretends to be tough on the border. Ha! Donnelly voted for amnesty and endorsed open borders liberal Hillary Clinton for president.
Sleepy Joe.
Joe Donnelly isn't one of us anymore. He's one of them. Listen to Mike Braun.
Career politicians like Joe Donnelly will say anything to keep their jobs. The truth is, Donnelly voted against Judge Kavanaugh, for the Iran nuclear deal, and even backed Hillary Clinton for president. We deserve better. I spent my career in the real world, creating jobs and getting things done. In Washington, I'll fight to bring back good-paying jobs and fix our health care.
I'm Mike Braun, candidate for Senate, and I approve this message.
Paid for by NRSC and authorized by Mike Braun for Indiana.
Check out the newest podcast from the Associated Press, Ground Game, hosted by AP's Meghan Crane. A weekly conversation about top political issues ahead of the upcoming midterm elections. Available on Apple Podcasts.
It is 6:37. It means it's time to check the roads this morning. In the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center, here is Jim Talamonte.
Metro reports delays on the Milwaukee West and Union Pacific North lines due to mechanical problems. Edens runs 24 minutes. Lake Cook Junction outbound 19. Inbound Kennedy, at 30 minutes. O'Hare to downtown, outbound 34. Inbound Eisenhower delays kicking around Wolf, 50 minutes, 390 to the Burn Circle, outbound 35. Stevenson, 54 minutes, 355 for Lakeshore Drive, outbound 37. Ryan is 23 minutes, 95th to downtown. I-57, 24 minutes, I-80 to the merge, Bishop 422. On Tri-State delays, Southwest Highway to the 83rd Street toll. From the Stevenson to 47th and St. Charles to Balmoral, southbound 53, it's tight. The Adams Tollwood Woodfield. It's traffic. I'm Jim Talamonte from the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center on AM 560 The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast. From the 1 Hour Heating and Air Conditioning Weather Center, cloudy, a bit of rain this afternoon, high 52. Currently clouds and 45, next news at 7. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by the Lou Bridges Show. Get foreclosure defense solutions that may save your home. Saturday mornings at 8 on AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues now. And make sure to stay tuned to catch me, Mike Gallagher, coming up at 9, only on AM 560, The Answer.
Jobs, not mobs, part of President Trump's message at these rallies to close out this election cycle over the weekend and, of course, into today.
Some think he's focusing too much on the caravan, which, by the way, over the weekend, Homeland Security said there are 12,000 people in this caravan, people from 20 different countries. But, yes, of course, he's touting the economy.
They all say, speak about the economy, speak about the economy. Well, we have the greatest economy in the history of our country. But sometimes it's not as exciting to talk about the economy, right?
I'm excited to talk
It's
about
exciting when you get 250,000 jobs, as was the October jobs number, and you get wage growth continuing to tick up 3.1% this year. So the other thing that's exciting about it, per Larry Kudlow, Trump's top economic advisor, over the weekend on with Maria Bartiromo, is that it's reaching down into blue-collar jobs in terms of the wage increases, the good economic times, the growth.
I'm not worried. I mean, I hear all this stuff about a sugar high and temporary and not sustainable. I mean, for one thing, that 250,000 gain in employment, which was, a blockbuster. I remember I told the president about it Thursday evening. He said, whoa. And Kevin Hassett and I were really surprised. Look, you got 3.1% rise in wages. You got 250,000. We're running solidly. You know who the biggest beneficiaries are, Maria? Blue-collar workers. Take a look at the numbers. The employment increase is largely centered on blue-collar workers. They're the big winners, fastest since the 80s, and they are the ones experiencing the largest wage gains. Blue-collar workers have beaten white-collar workers. Right. I have nothing against white-collar workers. I'm just saying this is a very depth, it's reaching down deep into the blue-collar area. That is precisely what we wanted with our supply-side tax cuts across the board and deregulation of the president's program.
Yeah, but you just heard
including energy.
It's working, and they're noodling on an additional middle-income tax cut that the president had sort of proposed off the cuff. That's
right.
Under consideration. And then the other big issue, the thing that arguably is not working, I would argue, at least unless you get to where Larry Kudlow wants it to go, which is a lower tax, lower tariff environment for trade, is the matter of the skirmish on trade between China and the United States. Kudlow saying to Bartiromo, this is going to be a topic. President Xi of China and President Trump will discuss this at the upcoming G20 summit at the end of this month.
It is now certain that the two presidents will discuss trade at the G20 meeting in Argentina. That's a good, positive, optimistic thing. Now, look, I spoke to President Trump yesterday, okay? We had a long talk about the China position. He believes that China's weakening economy, by the way, their PMI is down to 50, so that shows they're on the cusp here of a recession. Anyway, President Trump believes China would like a trade deal. And President Trump is the first president in decades to push this issue. We're not going to let them get away with unfair and illegal trading practices. Now, having said that, President Trump told me he would make a deal with China, okay? But it has to be a deal that is strong and in America's interest.
Yeah, well, that stands to reason. The question is, what does that look like? For more on both of these topics, pleased to be joined by CNBC contributor Jim Urio, also the proprietor of Brant's in Palatine.
Oh, yes, that's right.
Great hamburger there, I'm told, by Jim.
We need
and
to
others.
do a live remote from there.
We should.
The better.
Yeah, or
I
you
want
could,
one of those burgers, and I'd like to meet you in person.
or he could have, Uber Eats some burgers out to us.
That would be nice, or stop by. I like my
no,
medium.
No, I have to go. No, not.
You don't.
He's not
You
doing
don't
that.
do road trips.
I won't let them Uber Eats it out to you. You have to come to Brant's.
There you go. Got to eat it fresh. There you go. So, Jim, one thing Larry Kudlow said that follow-up, I think, is demanded. China on the cusp of a recession. He's describing China's weakening economy. Well, China in recession is not good for the United States, is it?
No, not at all. And when you look, you mentioned the trade tariffs before too, and Xi took a little bit of a swipe at Trump last night, which I'm sure is probably logical considering we have elections a day away. If the elections go the way of the conservatives, I think Xi's attitude may change afterwards. But the reality is this. Remember, if we get a recession in this country, people go to the ballot box and remove politicians. If they get a recession in China, they can withstand a recession in China, and the people don't have to worry about re-election quite as much as us. All they have to worry about is at some point revolution if they drive the economy too far into the ground, which I'm hoping is far off there. So this, like you said, this is of all the things, the macroeconomic policies, I agree with 100%. The tariffs thing, I don't agree with 100%. If it works, that's going to be beautiful and wonderful, and I'll be glad to be wrong, but I worry about it.
Well, how long do you think it's going to take to work itself out?
Well, I spoke to Larry on Friday, and by the way, I am not above name dropping. I hope you guys know that.
No.
You just name dropped very well, by the way.
We tell everybody after you're on the show that you were on the show.
Yeah.
Right, exactly. Well, I spoke to Larry on Friday, and he wants people to understand that this is going to be a long process. And his theme is just say yes to something, meaning China. You know what I mean? Just start this ball rolling. And if we do get a yes on anything, it's what was implied in his speech was that the ball will be rolling in the right direction and things will move. But, again, we got to get that yes.
Well, but if you see a significant market correction in 2019, for example, and you see perhaps GDP growth slowing a bit, that puts a lot of pressure on President Trump to make a move, particularly if, for example, you've got a divided Congress, which is a possibility.
Without question. If that happens, I do believe. But I think everything is going to be spun in the media. So, we'll probably go back to where we were before and then claim victory in that we sent a message to China that we're not going to be messed with anymore. And I guess that's fine. But, yeah, if market corrections will change things. Not only will they change things from an administration standpoint, they change things from the Fed as well. Fed doesn't like when risk assets are declining. I'm surprised that they've withstood this recent volatility and not changed their tone at all. And I think we're very close to having them do that if we see any further, stark downside.
Do you think in the last, 34 hours before the election day that President Trump should be pushing the accomplishments of the economy more than he is immigration or this caravan?
I know that's what I would. And by the way, the single most important thing of the economic story is being left out everywhere I heard it, and I cannot stress this enough. When we talk about the good job numbers, we talk about the good GDP numbers, we have to also talk about the fact that 2-year yields in this same time that Donald Trump has been elected president have gone from 0.8 to 2.9. The implications of that means that the market, financial markets, believe in supply-side economics. They believed it from the day he was elected, and they continue that belief now. A 2.9 2-year yield is amazing, and that's what Donald Trump always, beats the drum about. Is Barack Obama at times in his presidency had okay GDP numbers, but they were always against the backdrop of unbelievable accommodation from the Fed. To be doing this now with much, much less Fed accommodation is startling. And then when he says things like the greatest economy ever, and then everyone jumps to say, well, no, it's not, it seriously might be when you take into account the lack of accommodation over the last 2.5 years.
An underreported aspect of the story as well is the wage growth after more than a lost decade for middle-income families in a Kudlow wanted to emphasize that point that what you're seeing under this economy, the supply side tax cuts and deregulation, is growth happening in middle income and specifically blue collar families, those families who frankly put Trump in the White House in the Midwest. Is that a statement with which you agree?
Without any question at all. I mean, it's absolutely working. And guess what? It's working just like the book said it was. When you institute supply-side trickle-down, do the rich get richer? Yeah, the rich get richer. It's a cost of doing business in that type of economic policy. But that's the beauty of it, is that it really does trickle down. You say, oh, it didn't work after the Reagan thing. Sure, it worked. Yeah, maybe it was a little too concentrated on the high end, and maybe it can be adjusted. But, of course, injecting money in the economy has absolutely worked. Anyone who takes the other side of that wrong, I mean, this is a short debate. We win. Supply side worked.
Our colleague and your friend Scott Shellady was on the show on Friday. We were talking about the jobs numbers, and one of the things he said is that you get continued jobs numbers like this and wage growth and labor participation upticks, then maybe the Fed will be able to address the thing that frightens many on Wall Street the most, including Rick Santelli, which is unwinding from a decade of quantitative easing, of easy money. Is that your view as well?
Sure. Yeah, and that's obviously terrifying. And I don't, we've never been in this situation before where the Fed has a $4 trillion balance sheet, and what the hell they're going to do with it. I have no idea. Oh, sorry if I said that on air, and that's bad. But hopefully,
that's right.
Hopefully they can let a lot of it wind down, and hopefully they can, if they're going to actually, call a primary dealer and say, make me a market on $1 trillion worth of bonds, I think that the market couldn't withstand that. So they're going to have to come up with non-conventional ways to unwind as well.
All right. So I was at this investor conference on Friday,
show off.
What
did you learn?
I got to put my money to work if I'm going to get out of this godforsaken state. So one of the presenters makes the point that people buy what they wish they would have bought, and they sell when they're about to need it, with respect to just sort of mistiming the market. And his suggestion is that with unemployment under this low, under 5%, we've never had positive market returns for the 5 years subsequent. And his recommendation is, and belief is, that you're going to see a massive market correction in 2019, that we may even go into recession in 2019, and that your money should be in private investments or cash, not in equities.
No, I didn't hear whose name you said that, but I guess it doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
In that there's a bunch of guys who preach this kind of thing. I'm not for it. I think that you can cite a statistic like you did about unemployment, but say that we really had a lost 8-year period, probably even more, of economic growth. So this cycle is going to be a little bit more drawn out than the others as we slowly come out of it. I don't believe in that at all. I think you go with the George Costanza method of buying and selling is the best way. When everybody in the world wants to sell it and every fiber in your brain says sell, you buy. I don't know if you remember that Seinfeld episode. It was crazy, but it was some of the best investment advice I've ever heard. And when everybody is buying and your mind says buy, that's probably a time you're supposed to sell.
All right, so ignore the guys managing multi-billion-dollar pension funds and endowments and focus on George Costanza. That's probably some of the best financial advice anybody's ever offered.
Best I ever got.
All right, he is Jim Iuorio, CNBC contributor, and if you haven't and you're in the northwest suburban Cook County region, stop by Brandt's for a burger in Palatine. Jim, thanks for joining us. Appreciate
it. Thanks.
And he joined us on our Turnkey.pro answer line.
You're listening to Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
I'm Lou Dobbs. Apple no longer worth $1 trillion. Deja vu for General Electric investors, and Kroger set to revive memories of Toys R Us. Those stories next.
Stocks and options trading involves financial risk and is not suitable for all investors.
Hey guys, it's Scott Bauer here, CEO of Prosper Trading Academy. Are you looking for a super hot stock tip? Here at Prosper, we are always looking for exciting opportunities in the markets. And right now, all my students are salivating over this stock we are watching. In fact, I've got this hot stock written down right here, and I'm about to text it to you for free. I just need to know where to send it. Simply text HOT to 48542, and I'll text it to you instantly. How do I know this stock is so hot? Well, I'm a former CBOE market maker for Amazon Options, former vice president of Goldman Sachs, and I have over 25 years of professional trading experience. I'm telling you, this stock is hot. But be warned, the stock may move soon, so you need to claim it before it does. Text HOT to 48542, and I'll text you this hot stock instantly. Text HOT to 48542, and I'll text you this hot stock instantly. Message and data rates may apply.
Apple has lost its status as the trillion-dollar company. Forecast of softer-than-expected holiday sales drove Apple shares down 6%. Apple further disappointing investors, announcing it will no longer release sales figures for its iconic iPhone. Long-term GE investors may feel as if they've seen this before. Friday's 8th straight decline in the shares of GE and a downgraded credit rating, tracking with what occurred at the depths of the 2008 financial crisis. Toys R Us is gone, but 600 Kroger grocery stores will be reviving the memories of the chain. Kroger will sell plush toys modeled after Toys R Us mascot Jeffrey the Giraffe. Please join me for Lou Dobbs tonight, 7 and 10 Eastern on the Fox Business Network. This is the Lou Dobbs Financial Report.
You're so mean, Dan. St. John's Northwestern Military Academy, a private college preparatory and leadership development school that combines personalized academic instruction, mandatory participation in athletics, and ongoing instruction in ethics and values. It is a place that you want to send your son and now daughter to. For years, they have served young men with that outstanding education and preparation for life. It's an excellent co-ed environment. It is not a school for troubled kids. People come from all over the world. Alumni include heads of state, key business leaders. Are you familiar with Gerber? Professional athletes, accomplished artists, statesmen, and politicians, and a variety of others who have made important contributions to a broad spectrum of society. The Academy is principally a boarding school for young men and women in grades 7 through 12, but has an active day program for those grades as well. I trust the leaders there. I met with the administrators and met some of the cadets. Thoroughly impressed. I felt like I was on the set of a movie. It was just unbelievable how disciplined these young men and women are. Trusted so much that I sent Peyton and Eli there for the summer. If you have any questions or if you want more information or if you want to schedule a visit, they have ongoing enrollment, which means there's still time to enroll your son or daughter for this school year. For more information, call 1-800-SJ-CADET. That's 1-800-SJ-CADET. Or visit their website, sjnma.org. That's sjnma.org.
The following is a paid political announcement.
Hey, where is Sleepin' Joe Donnelly? A whole caravan of illegal immigrants is headed towards the United States, and Donnelly is silent, not a peep. But in commercials, he pretends to be tough on the border. Ha! Donnelly voted for amnesty and endorsed open borders liberal Hillary Clinton for president.
Sleepy Joe.
Joe Donnelly isn't one of us anymore. He's one of them. Listen to Mike Braun.
Career politicians like Joe Donnelly will say anything to keep their jobs. The truth is, Donnelly voted against Judge Kavanaugh, for the Iran nuclear deal, and even backed Hillary Clinton for president. We deserve better. I spent my career in the real world, creating jobs and getting things done. In Washington, I'll fight to bring back good-paying jobs and fix our health care.
I'm Mike Braun, candidate for Senate, and I approve this message.
Paid for by NRSC and authorized by Mike Braun for Indiana.
The following is a paid political announcement.
Hi, this is Congressman Randy Hultgren. I want to tell you why I'm running for re-election to the U.S. House of Representatives and to ask for your support. I've accomplished a lot during my time in Congress. We have the lowest unemployment in years and a record number of new jobs. We've cut taxes, passed regulatory reform, put ISIS on their heels, and repealed the individual mandate of Obamacare. But there's still a lot to be done, and that's why I'm asking for your vote. We need healthcare reform that lowers costs and expands choices while continuing to protect the coverage of those with pre-existing conditions, which I've worked for and supported my entire career. We must reduce the size and scope as well as the cost of the federal government, and we have to protect programs for our seniors and veterans. You don't have to wait until November 6th to cast your vote. You can vote today at any one of the early voting locations in your county. For more information and to help find the location in your neighborhood, visit randyhultgren.com/early voting. I'm so grateful for your continued support, and together we will keep working for the 14th District and for Illinois. Paid for by Hultgren for Congress.
Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies in a capsule.
I thought I had a sinus headache for a few days, but I had a massive brain aneurysm, hemorrhage of the brain, and a stroke. And I was on my deathbed. I was on a respirator in a coma for 35 days. And 3 months later, I came home in a wheelchair. I had double vision. I had to learn to walk again, to speak again. 1 and 1 is 2, write the alphabet. You know, if I went out and did a little something, I'd come home, I'd be in bed. Now I'm up by like 5:30 in the morning, and I go to the gym. I do shopping. I cook. I have energy all day. I mean, I feel great. Overall, my whole outlook, just feeling, my mental aspect, everything is better.
For a limited time, use discount code CHICAGO, and we'll take 35% off your first preferred set of fruits and veggies and have them shipped to you free. Call 800-246-8751. That's 1-800-246-8751, or go online to balanceofnature.com and use discount code CHICAGO.
AM 560, The Answer.
Just quickly, another instance where the left's particular brand of civility leaves a mark. Alec Baldwin.
Oh, he got arrested on Friday.
Hits a guy in the head over a parking spot while this guy is feeding the meter because the guy didn't accede to a Baldwin relative holding the parking spot for Baldwin. The victim was hospitalized, but no serious injury, and the D-bag is due back in court on charge of misdemeanor assault and harassment.
Well,
Leftist civility.
Go to jail. Yeah. He should, or lose his job on ABC, that new god-awful talk show he has. Why don't they fire him or ban him from Saturday Night Live? He's a vicious, vile, violent person.
How many times has this guy been in incidents like this?
That's the thing. He doesn't learn because they keep giving him a pass. Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Want to know how the Illinois Political Press Corps will vote tomorrow? We've got it at 7:07.
But first, here we go into the newsroom. Here's Mike Scott.
A deadly hit and run investigated in Ford Heights this morning. WIND Chicago News Time, 7 o'clock.
One last day to make their case to voters. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News.
We are going to fight, and we are going to win, win, win.
President Trump rallying in Georgia. He'll go to Ohio, Indiana, and Missouri today. He was also in Tennessee yesterday. Fox's Gernal Scott live in Franklin.
Dave, in the president's support of Marsha Blackburn for Senate at a Chattanooga stop, he continued to paint Democrats, including Blackburn's opponent Phil Bredesen, as obstructionists.
Democrats produce mobs, Republicans produce jobs.
But Bredesen, campaigning earlier in Chattanooga the same day, said he'd be different if he were to win this race.
Whatever is said in the heat of a campaign will not affect my willingness, eagerness even, to work with the president.
Polls open tomorrow morning, but nearly 1.4 million Tennesseans have already cast an early vote this year, Dave.
Gernal, nationwide, it's more than 30 million who've early voted, setting records in states like Florida and Texas.
The health care of millions is on the ballot.
Former President Obama campaigning in Indiana, then Illinois, saying he's optimistic for Democrats.
Watching so many people get involved, marching, organizing, running for office, record numbers of women. We need more women in office.
A trial starts today in New York that the Justice Department wants the U.S. Supreme Court to block, a challenge to asking people on the 2020 census if they're citizens or not.
That trial stems from lawsuits brought by a dozen states and large cities who say adding a citizenship question to the 2020 census will discourage immigrants from participating and dilute political representation and money for states that tend to vote Democratic.
Fox's Tanya J. Powers. Week after a plane crashed after takeoff from Indonesia, killing 189 people on board. Investigators say the black box data recorder shows the jet had an airspeed indicator on that, malfunctioned on that, and 3 other flights. This is Fox News.
Skies are cloudy, 45 degrees, 7:02 on AM 560. The Answer. Good morning. I'm Mike Scott. Authorities are investigating this morning a deadly hit-and-run crash in Ford Heights. Cook County sheriffs say a person was struck by a vehicle walking in the roadway near Lincoln Highway and Transportation Drive. The driver took off following the incident. An Itasca man is dead. An Elgin woman missing after the two went swimming in Lake Michigan near Highland Park. The pair began struggling after going under yesterday during a polar bear-type plunge at Park Avenue Beach. Former President Barack Obama calling Chicagoans to vote ahead of tomorrow's election.
You get to vote in what I believe will be the most important election of
of our lifetimes.
The former president campaigning for Illinois Democrats, trying to rally the vote yesterday at UIC Pavilion. Illinois incumbent Governor Bruce Rauner will be campaigning tonight in the western suburbs. The governor and First Lady Diana made campaign stops throughout the state yesterday, including St. Charles and Orland Park. The woman who pays Illinois' bills may not be long for that job. Comptroller Susana Mendoza is on tomorrow's ballot. She's running for her second term as Illinois Comptroller, not really a second term, but a second run after completing a shortened term the first time around. NBC5 is reporting that Mendoza has already produced a commercial that announces a run for Chicago mayor. Mendoza's camp says the ad was stolen, says they're still looking at all of their options. Bears pound the Bills 41-9 in Buffalo. Chicago defense finishing with 4 sacks and 4 turnovers. Bulls in New York tonight to play the Knicks. The news, a service of E-Verify. Choose E-Verify, the enhanced employment eligibility verification tool that can confidently confirm work eligibility. They've got a new look, and process has never been better. Check it out and get started at everify.gov/go. A check of traffic and weather is on the way next on AM 560, The Answer.
The world is a dangerous place. Often, it's a very ugly place, and you come here to try to help make sense of it all. We give you the latest news, help you understand what it means and why it's important. But there are bigger questions you need answered about life and death, faith and hope. And that's where our sister station, AM 1160, Hope for Your Life, comes in. When you're looking for answers to life's biggest questions, give them a listen at AM 1160 or online at 1160hope.com.
The following is a paid political announcement.
Rich, poor, Republican, Democrat, we're all the same when it comes to property taxes.
We're not going to be living in Illinois anymore, and it's due to the property taxes.
Go to SaveYourHomeNow.org. You stay. The politicians go. Liberty Principles paid for this ad and is solely responsible for its content.
All money managers may seem pretty much the same. But while some money managers may recommend high commission investment products, Fisher Investments avoids them. Some money managers may have hidden and layered fees. Fisher Investments never does. And while some money managers are happy to earn commissions from you, whether you do well or not, Fisher Investments fees are structured so we do better when you do better. In other words, we're structured to be on your side. Maybe that's why most of our clients come to us from other money managers. Talk with us and find out why so many experienced investors are switching to and staying with Fisher Investments. Fisher Investments, clearly better money management. Investments in securities involve the risk of loss. Visit us at FisherInvestments.com to find out what we can do for you.
The following is a paid political announcement.
Hey, where is Sleepin' Joe Donnelly? A whole caravan of illegal immigrants is headed towards the United States, and Donnelly is silent, not a peep. But in commercials, he pretends to be tough on the border. Ha! Donnelly voted for amnesty and endorsed open borders liberal Hillary Clinton for president.
Sleepy Joe.
Joe Donnelly isn't one of us anymore. He's one of them. Listen to Mike Braun.
Career politicians like Joe Donnelly will say anything to keep their jobs. The truth is, Donnelly voted against Judge Kavanaugh, for the Iran nuclear deal, and even backed Hillary Clinton for president. We deserve better. I spent my career in the real world, creating jobs and getting things done. In Washington, I'll fight to bring back good-paying jobs and fix our health care. I'm Mike Braun. I approve this message, and I ask for your vote.
Paid for by Mike Braun for Indiana.
Signature Bank is Chicago's fastest-growing independently owned business bank. It's a bank where relationships still matter. Signature Bank knows your name and your story. I'm Dan Proft, and I know this because Signature Bank is my business bank.
I'm Chris Veldman of ServiceMaster DSI, the largest ServiceMaster franchise in the United States and a customer of Signature Bank. In our business, we respond to disaster, and we never know when disaster will strike, whether it's flooding in Louisiana or a house fire in Chicago. Not all banks understand that need for flexibility, but Signature Bank does. That's why we consider them so much more than a bank. They have been our business partner since 2006, when their 3 co-founders, Mick, Kevin, and Brian, started the bank. Signature Bank is a key part of our growth strategy at ServiceMaster DSI.
Signature Bank is looking for their next success story. To learn more about turning your business vision into reality, visit signaturebank.bank. Signature Bank, helping local businesses succeed. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
What is future you doing right now? You could be working for UPS as a part-time package handler, now hiring in Hodgkins. Plus, receive tuition assistance from the UPS Earn and Learn program. Apply now at upsjobs.com.
At 7:08, let's check the roads in the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center with Jim Talamonte.
Metra has delays on the Union Pacific North and Milwaukee West lines due to mechanical problems. Big jam on Lakeshore Drive, northbound Wacker to the Oak Street curve. Multiple crashes have happened there. The right lane is blocked. Southbound very heavy, Fullerton to the Oak Street curve. 2 left lanes are blocked. The Edens, looking at 30 minutes, Lake Cook Junction, outbound 22. Kennedy, 40 minutes, O'Hare to downtown. Outbound, it's 42 minutes. The Eisenhower, 51 minutes, 390 to the Burn Circle. 38 from Manheim, outbound 39 to 390. Stevenson, 54 minutes, 355 to Lakeshore Drive, outbound 40. Ryan, 23 minutes, 95th to downtown. Tollways are getting heavy. That's traffic. I'm Jim Talamonte from the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center on AM 560 The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the 1-hour Heating and Air Conditioning Weather Center and our meteorologist, Kevin Snyder.
Today mostly cloudy with a little rain late in the afternoon, high 52. Tonight rain, low 44. Mostly cloudy, windy, tomorrow high 50. Then a colder night, partly cloudy and breezy with a low 33. I'm Kevin Snyder on AM 560. The Answer.
45 at O'Hare. Next news at 7:30, and Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560. The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by the Alpha Wealth Group, bringing the trilogy of estate, tax, and investment planning together. Visit alphawealthgroup.com for a free report.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. Remember what Andrew Breitbart said. The media more powerful than all 3 branches of government combined. He was speaking at the federal level. One might argue that's the same thing in big cities like Chicago Metro. So it's relevant what the press does, since even those who should look at coverage from old media outlets with a jaundiced eye, nevertheless are inclined to believe what they read and they see.
Yeah.
It's true. So who's providing what they're reading and seeing? What's the agenda? No agenda?
No, there's an agenda.
Mm-hmm. So we looked at it. I thought
This is shocking to me, by the way.
Thought you might want to know how your favorite journalist, we the journalists,
Okay,
in the
Cristiano
Cristiano
Amador.
Amador. Yeah, exactly. Esteemed journalist.
Maybe it's because she has an accent, too, that it sounded so very smug.
How are all of the dizzying intellects in the Chicago press corps going to vote tomorrow? You curious? Well, if you are, we can give you a pretty good indication over at ChicagoCityWire.com, and I tweeted out the story.
Uh-oh. You have voting records for reporters?
Showed my work. Yeah, we looked at...
Remember when you looked at mine?
we look at, well, it's public record.
That's all right. No, I'm not. I know. I'm a recovering Democrat. I understand.
We looked at the primary voting records of sort of top 100 political journalists in the state, sort of our version of the Gang of 500.
And?
424 total primary votes recorded by the Illinois State Board of Elections from the 100. 395 of them were Democrat primary votes, 93%.
That's not surprising.
93%. Mm-hmm. Now, I'm going to be charitable in a way that the leftists in the Chicago Press Corps rarely are with me, but there are some exceptions. So I'm not saying, just to be clear, that you can't be a Democrat and be a journalist and be a good journalist. I'm not saying that. Now, the converse is what they say. just notable. But I am saying that the lack of honesty about political leanings continues to be a problem. The way, the AFL-CIO can buy the Chicago Sun-Times and, nary any coverage is given to the fact that a public sector union with all kinds of interests, or an accumulation of public sector unions with all kinds of public policy interests, own the Sun-Times, and so that's going to color the coverage. Oh, no, of course it won't, Dan. Right. Okay. It's also worth knowing, because these people serve, generally speaking, as the comm shop for the status quo. They vote for the status quo in this state. You don't think they're promoting the status quo? We're talking about, the electorate gets what it deserves. The media is part of giving you what you do or do not deserve, depending on your perspective, but force-feeding you what they think you deserve. We don't have the political culture in Illinois and Chicago without the significant help of the Chicago Press Corps. So 93% Democrat primaries, and they'll be voting for the status quo tomorrow. Something you should consider. And, this is what I'm talking. So let me be on the positive for a second.
Okay.
So, for example, Scott Fornick, who's a political editor for the Sun-Times, Greg Hines is a longtime political writer for Crain's.
Right.
Both have voted in 16 Democrat primaries, 0 Republicans.
That doesn't surprise me.
No, they're Democrats.
Right. We know that.
But, I haven't always agreed with the stuff Hines writes, but I've always been treated generally fairly by Greg, I would say. And I was always treated, when Scott was on the political beat and not an editor, I always felt like I was treated fairly by Fornick, and that both of them provide some context to the stories they're writing. Hines is much more of an opinion analysis.
Right.
But, I
don't think they ever took you out of context.
Well, Hines maybe, but Fornick was doing news stories. Okay. So it's just a different kettle of fish. And Fornick would provide context and consequence, because being balanced, being forthright, is not just saying, well, this side said, this side got a quote and that side got a quote, so therefore it's a balanced. No, that's not. No. Context and consequence, the takeaway. And sometimes the manifest weight of the evidence, if it's properly presented, will lead the reasonable person to conclude one thing or the other. Sometimes when the manifest weight of the evidence is not properly presented, it'll lead the reasonable person to erroneously conclude something that isn't true.
I remember trying to get a Republican response, and somebody in the newsroom, I'm not going to tell you who their name is, said, well, you're going to be hard to find a Republican in Chicago. You're going to have to drive out to the suburbs. And I said, well, if I have to do that, then that's what I'm going to do. Okay? Well, that's how
first of all,
silly and stupid.
That's absurd.
Well, when I first started there, that's what, because I always wanted, we need to get the Republican response. No Republican's going to respond to that. I can't remember what the issue was, but it was unbelievable.
Talking to a journalist recently, I said, you voted in 5 of the last 5 Democrat primaries. Do you think that informs your coverage? Oh, well, I pull a Democrat ballot because I'm in the city.
Oh, my gosh.
Well, I'm in the city, and I vote in only Republican primaries. Because sometimes you'll note, since you're a journalist, that we have statewide elections. And so, for example, back in March, you could have chosen to vote in the Republican primary to vote for Bruce Rauner or Jeanne Ives. That was a competitive primary, but you didn't. So what are you trying to tell me? You're really a closet Republican? Just come on. Just stop, please. You're embarrassing yourself. And this is what I'm talking about. Here's another example.
Okay.
This guy who's a Tribune writer, Steve Johnson, tweeted out yesterday, "My wife, young sons, and I were among them. Seems like it was many more years ago, the historic moment of being in Grant Park for Obama's inauguration."
Yeah, I was there for that.
And my point was, you are a writer for the Tribune. Your wife is an editor for ProPublica and former Tribune editor. But you pretend to be just dispassionate scriveners with no viewpoints that inform their coverage. Just a couple of your prototypical even-handed members of the Chicago Press Corps. It's a lie. Because he tweeted back at me, I can't go to a historical event. Is that what you were doing? You're just going to a historical event. You're 8 of 8. You're 8 of 8 Democrat primaries, and your wife is all Democrat primaries too. Stop.
Well, they were reporters crying in the press pit. I've never seen anything like it. I felt, I was at a Rose Bowl or something where people are overcome with emotion and screaming and hugging.
So just
the jubilation was unbelievable.
So just stop lying to everyone. If you were just honest about who you were, who you are, and your perspective, your philosophical beliefs, then the conversation could be so much more productive. And it's interesting to note the charade, because why would you want to pantomime objectivity? Why would you not be forthright about who you are and what you believe? Perhaps there's something else afoot. Perhaps, to borrow, again, a phrase from the president who engendered the tears, perhaps there's a bit of an okey doke going on in the Chicago press corps, just like in the D.C. press corps. Oh, and how does this manifest itself? Flacking, as I said, for the status quo. Let's give a concrete example that's on the ballot tomorrow. Lauren Underwood.
Yeah, she's the one. She went to a Naperville high school. But she lives with her parents right now. She's from D.C. and has a place in D.C., but was handpicked to challenge Randy Hultgren here.
Mm-hmm.
So she moved in with her parents.
If you've seen the commercials.
1,000 times.
Right. What do you see?
I see her in the doctor's office. She has a precondition or a pre-existing heart condition, she claims, and then she's a nurse, but I don't know what hospital or where she's a nurse at.
Been reported, all the outlets, Chicago outlets, Naperville nurse running for Congress. She moved back to Naperville last year. She lives in her parents' house in White Eagle. Her dad's a manufacturing exec. So not one of these sort of Horatio Alger stories that you're, not at least for her.
White Eagle's
maybe
nice.
For her parents, I don't know. But
that's a
not
very
for
nice
her.
subdivision.
She moved back to Naperville last year, and she is registered to practice nursing, but she has never in Illinois or anywhere else.
Oh, so that's fake? That's Hollywood? That's her seeing patients and getting out their stethoscope and telling them to breathe?
Correct.
That's all staged. Wow.
Yeah. She
It's shame on her. That is fraud.
She actually told a Obama campaign staffer turned podcaster, Ravi Gupta, that that nursing wasn't her interest. I always knew that the policy space was where I would land. She did study to be a nurse. As I said, she's a registered nurse.
But she's never practiced.
She introduces herself in those spots and in general as a registered nurse treating patients.
Well, she looks so compassionate and caring and blah, 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 blah.
She's never worked as a practicing nurse in a hospital or any setting where she would be discharging patients.
Wow.
She's even though she's portrayed as this hands-on nurse.
Yeah, she's even got the scrubs on.
The spot that you see on your television screens around Chicago was shot in a Naperville dentist's office, White Eagle Dentistry, a few blocks from her parents' home. A February casting call asked for a few volunteers to join us for a photo shoot tomorrow, looking for friendly faces of all ages, genders, backgrounds.
Oh, my goodness.
This story that we wrote in KaneCountyReporter.com got picked up by American Thinker and retweeted out yesterday by Mark Levin. So trying to get the word out about this fraud, and that's what it is. But you know who wasn't on the case to do any due diligence, to expose the fraud? All of those Pulitzer Prize winners in the Chicago Press Corps, 93% of whom are Democrats. You think you think they're rooting for Lauren Underwood against Randy Hultgren?
Of course, but how long ago did she have that interview with Randy Gupta? Was that her name? The podcast?
Ravi
Gupta.
In April.
Oh my gosh, and it just is coming, and nobody bothered. Okay, because I've seen those commercials and wondered, gosh, I thought she was a nurse in D.C. and that they had gotten footage from her there, because I know that she recently moved. They planted her here because they were looking for an African American to run against Randy Hultgren.
This is how the in the tank for the left manifests itself in the press corps. Remember this example, because it's not just bias in the abstract. It's bias in practice, helping to perpetrate a fraud on suburban voters in a congressional race. George in Libertyville.
Yeah, good point, Dan. I'll tell you, like I was saying, your screener, Illinois and particularly Chicago is probably our closest example of the fraud that's going on in Venezuela right here. And 2 points. Up here in Lake County, I had the chance to look at the ballot voting. They're actually now offering us the chance, right, the opportunity to raise real estate taxes to pay for unfunded pensions. And as far as the Democratic fraud in the elections, I asked my friends who are Democrats, I go, how does it feel when you see these Project Veritas videos where people that you support, literally their teams admit to lying to the public so they can be elected? And people just sit there and laugh. It's stunning. And then we all complain about real estate taxes.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Thanks for the call, George. Right.
Anyone who complains and doesn't vote tomorrow, shame on them.
Or votes for the same thing is even worse.
Right.
Yeah, you're saying, please fleece me. Please take my home from me. I mean, it's remarkable.
Take my pension. Take everything.
Right. Pension, job, or home. One of them's going to go, at least one. Which would you like to be taken by the government? Robert and Niles.
Hey, how you doing today, Dan? Listen, I was just wondering, when you was talking about that pretend nurse, I was just wondering, isn't that fraud? I mean, can't you be arrested for doing something like that?
Well, it's political fraud. Thanks for the call, Robert.
Illegal.
She's a registered nurse. She's not a practicing nurse. She's holding herself out as a practicing nurse. I mean, if you were a lawyer, for example, you could be disbarred and be against the canons to hold yourself out as a licensed attorney if you're not, or practicing attorney if you're not.
But shame on White Eagle Dentistry too for letting her commit that fraud.
Well, I mean,
their dental office.
Well, who knows what they know? Like a family friend or something. It's not on them. Where's the fourth estate? Huh? Where's the great institutions making sure that the populace is informed, making informed choices? You think if Randy Hultgren was pretending to be a practicing nurse and wasn't, you think that would have drawn any attention? You think that would have gotten any interest? You think there may have been some due diligence done on any suggestion that Randy Hultgren was representing himself as something he isn't, the way Lauren Underwood is?
If you're talking about it, Dan and Amy are talking about it. It's Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Want your home's furnace to stay safe and reliable? And want to prevent any potential problems before they happen? At your local 1 Hour Heating and Air Conditioning, we recommend an annual furnace inspection and tune-up. Right now, get a $79 furnace tune-up. Call 855-1-HOUR. Because not taking care of your furnace, that's just cold.
Your comfort is just a call away. Call 1 Hour.
Terms and conditions may apply. Call for details. Independently owned and operated. Licensed in the respective state or county.
We'll be suspending all of our election coverage the rest of the morning to follow the dog on the Stevenson, like WGN is. All right, upstream-ideas.com, premium content that complements what we do each morning in this show. Pre-election against the current specials, John Cass, James O'Keefe, Project Veritas was just mentioned by a caller, Heather McDonald, as well as former Milwaukee County Sheriff David Clark, and then all the property tax info that should be informing your vote tomorrow. DefendHomeowners.com, a report on your home. SaveYourHomeNow.org, all of the vignettes, all of the cautionary tales. Read them. Add your own if you'd like. Home sales info, free property tax report on your home, stories about the impact of property taxes, no matter where you live, no matter what price point you desire for your house as compared to the price at which you bought it. SaveYourHomeNow.org, DefendHomeowners.com, all of the interviews and everything else, upstream-ideas.com.
The following is a paid political announcement.
Hello, voters of DuPage County. My name is Chris Randall, and I'm a veteran of 2 combat deployments. Today, I'm speaking with you about the toughest and best commander I've ever had, Kevin Wiley. He's running for DuPage County District 6 County Board. I've been in some tough situations in my life and served with some of the finest Americans in our nation. And I can confidently say today that Kevin Wiley was the finest commander I've ever worked for. In an army of great leaders, he was primus inter pares, first among equals. Please vote for my friend and commander, Kevin Wiley, for DuPage County District 6.
Paid paid for by Wiley for DuPage County.
Did you know that studies have shown that we need over 10 servings of fruits and veggies every single day? If you're like me, it's hard to find the time and money to prepare and eat all of those fruits and vegetables. Who can do that? Yet we know that proper nutrition can prevent health problems, give us energy, and help us heal faster. Balance of Nature has spent over 20 years researching and delivering solutions to this problem. We can ensure that you consume over 30 different fruits and veggies every single day. Our capsules are filled with 100% real whole foods. There isn't a single thing added to Balance of Nature products. They're pure. We spent an incredible amount of time on the quality of our products. We do this for you. We do it for our own families. Give yourself a break and give your body what it needs. Call now to receive 35% off your first Balance of Nature order. Call 1-800-2468-751 or go online to balanceofnature.com. Use promo code CHICAGO.
The following is a paid political announcement.
I don't respect this president.
The radical liberals in Washington will do anything to stop the president's agenda to make America great again.
I don't trust this president.
They would rather see the country fail
His motives and his actions are contemptible.
than fix the problems facing our nation.
And I will fight every day until he is impeached. Impeach 45. Impeach 45.
But Julie Olthoff isn't waiting around for the career politicians in Washington to deliver solutions. Julie Olthoff believes our conservative ideas will give us prosperity and preserve the American dream. That's why Julie has worked with Governor Holcomb to balance Indiana's budget, cut taxes for hardworking Hoosiers, and fully fund the next 20 years of building and maintaining our roads and bridges. Julie Olthoff and Governor Eric Holcomb have Indiana on the right track. Vote Julie Olthoff for state representative on or before November 6th.
Paid for by Voters for Julie Olthoff.
AM 560, The Answer.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
We'll talk the caravan and Iranian sanctions with Cliff May, Foundation for the Defense of Democracies at 7:37.
And oopsie, the 6 seconds Susana Mendoza wishes she could take back. But first, we go into the newsroom. Here is Mike Scott.
Clouds and 45 degrees, just a peek at the sun at times at 7:30 on AM 560, The Answer. A new poll out this morning shows Democrat candidates with narrow leads in Florida's races for governor and the U.S. Senate. It's new polling on the eve of tomorrow's midterm elections that show Democrats there with narrow leads. It was 3 points in the Senate race between Bill Nelson and Republican Governor Rick Scott. And in the governor's race, there is also a lead for the Democrat candidate. Everything is within the margin of error. President Trump has 3 rallies on his schedule today as voters prepare to hit the polls. NBC's Peter Alexander says the president is focusing on friendly territory.
On tap today, 3 more red states, Ohio, Indiana, and Missouri, where he'll be joined by a pair of right-wing firebrands, Sean Hannity and Rush Limbaugh.
First campaign rally gets underway at around 2 o'clock our time in Cleveland. After that, a short stop in Fort Wayne, Indiana at Allen County War Memorial Coliseum. Democrat National Committee Chair Tom Perez says too many working families, in his opinion, have been left behind in the Trump economy.
Talking about real wage growth. If you get $1 more in your paycheck and the cost of gasoline, the cost of health care, the cost of housing goes up by $3, you're not better off.
On CNN State of the Union, Perez discussed wage growth not matching inflation in areas of the country. The likelihood of developing CTE could be in your genes. New studies out of Boston University took a look at CTE, the Alzheimer's-like condition that can come about when someone takes repeated blows to the head. Researchers were able to isolate genes that seem to have some major influence over why some people suffer from more severe forms of the disease than others. Amazon in the final stages of preparation, according to sources, to relocate its second headquarters in Northern Virginia. Washington Post reporting the online retail giant has been in talks to open a massive center in Crystal City, just south of Washington, D.C. But news sources this morning are telling CNBC Amazon has told Austin, Texas, they are still in the running. Authorities are investigating a deadly hit-and-run crash here in Ford Heights. Cook County sheriffs are investigating after a person was struck in the roadway near Lincoln Highway and Transportation Drive, and the driver took off following the incident. An Itasca man is dead, an Elgin woman missing after the two went swimming in Lake Michigan near Highland Park. The pair began struggling after going into the water with a group for a polar plunge type event near the Park Avenue beach. An investigation is underway after swastika graffiti was found on homes on Chicago's north side in the 800 block of West Hutchinson and in the 800 block of West Junior Terrace. Bears over the Bills 41-9. Bulls take on the Knicks tonight. The news is a service of UPSJobs.com. What is future you doing right now? You could be working for UPS as a part-time package handler, now hiring in Hodgkins. Plus, receive tuition assistance from the UPS Earn and Learn program. Apply now at UPSJobs.com. 7:33, we'll have a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Dennis Prager explains the left's ideal situation.
Remember Nancy Pelosi? Didn't she say that once, where we could sit back and write poetry and compose music? This is the ideal, that somehow you will be fed, clothed, and housed without actually doing anything. It's character destroying, socialism.
The Dennis Prager Show. Weekdays at 11, right before Sean Hannity at 2 on AM 560. The Answer.
The following is a paid political announcement.
Rich, poor, Republican, Democrat, we're all the same when it comes to property taxes.
We're not going to be living in Illinois anymore, and it's due to the property taxes.
Go to SaveYourHomeNow.org. You stay. The politicians go. Liberty Principles paid for this ad and is solely responsible for its content.
The following is a paid political announcement.
More than a decade in Washington has changed Joe Donnelly. When he first ran for Congress, Donnelly told Hoosiers,
I will be an independent voice who goes there to represent your best interests.
That's not Joe Donnelly today. Donnelly votes more with Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer than Donald Trump. Donnelly votes for their liberal immigration schemes, and he voted against President Trump's tax cuts. And on outsourcing, Donnelly says,
it's unpatriotic, it's shameful, and it's un-American.
But Donnelly profited from his family business that outsourced jobs to Mexico, where workers were paid $3 an hour and imported from China. You can call him Mexico Joe, you can call him Phony Joe. Just don't call him one of us. Joe Donnelly belongs to the Washington Liberals now, not Indiana. Senate Leadership Fund paid for and is responsible for the content of this advertising. Not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee. www.senateleadershipfund.org.
You've heard of living trusts and how they can help protect your assets, but you may not know if a living trust is right for you. Or maybe you have questions about creating your own living trust. The fact is, almost everyone can benefit from a living trust, which can protect your assets from the court system and your loved ones from unnecessary expense and inconvenience. Learn more at a free seminar Wednesday, November 7th at Papa Joe's Restaurant in Orland Park. Estate planning attorney Robert Zapolis will explain how to create your own living trust, estate planning under the new tax laws, why a will does not avoid probate, and more. Have your estate planning and living trust questions answered absolutely free. Don't miss this important seminar Wednesday, November 7th at 6:30 at Papa Joe's Restaurant, 145th and LaGrange Road in Orland Park. The seminar is free and a complimentary dinner is served, but you must make a reservation now. Call 708-478-1400. 708-478-1400. The following is a paid political announcement.
Hey, where is Sleepin' Joe Donnelly? A whole caravan of illegal immigrants is headed towards the United States, and Donnelly is silent, not a peep. But in commercials, he pretends to be tough on the border. Ha! Donnelly voted for amnesty and endorsed open borders liberal Hillary Clinton for president.
Sleepy Joe.
Joe Donnelly isn't one of us anymore. He's one of them. Listen to Mike Braun.
Career politicians like Joe Donnelly will say anything to keep their jobs. The truth is, Donnelly voted against Judge Kavanaugh, for the Iran nuclear deal, and even backed Hillary Clinton for president. We deserve better. I spent my career in the real world, creating jobs and getting things done. In Washington, I'll fight to bring back good-paying jobs and fix our health care. I'm Mike Braun. I approve this message, and I ask for your vote.
Paid for by Mike Braun for Indiana.
Check out the newest podcast from the Associated Press, Ground Game, hosted by AP's Meghan Crane. A weekly conversation about top political issues ahead of the upcoming midterm elections. Available on Apple Podcasts.
7:37. Let's get a check on the roads in the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center. Here's Jim Talamonte.
Southbound Tri-State traffic is heavy from 137 to 176 and from Toohey to the Adams Tollway. Northbound jam, Southwest Highway, 83rd Street Toll, 75th to the Hinsdale Oasis, Roosevelt to Balmoral. But Reagan Tollway tight 53 to 355. Northbound Veterans Memorial delays about to the Reagan Tollway, Roosevelt to St. Charles, southbound 53 from Palatine Road to Woodfield Road. Edens runs 26 minutes, Lake Cook to Montrose. Kennedy, 50 minutes, O'Hare to downtown, a little quicker than the Express. Eisenhower, an hour 390 to downtown, 47 minutes from Manheim. Stevenson, an hour and 5 minutes, 355 to Lakeshore Drive. Ryan, 27 minutes, 95 to downtown. I-57 is heavy. It's traffic. I'm Jim Talamonte from the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center on AM 560 The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the 1-hour heating and air conditioning weather center. Cloudy, bit of rain this afternoon. High 52 and rain in 44 overnight. 45 at O'Hare. Next news at 8. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560 The Answer.
Coming up next, it's me, Mike Gallagher, right after Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy on AM 560, The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. We were talking about the Chicago Press Corps, and Mike Scott just got word over the transom that longtime CBS reporter Mike Parker has passed away.
Yeah,
That's
he was
sad.
a fixture at WBBM Channel 2 for more than 35 years. I thought, he always had that deep voice, that distinctive voice, but
Yeah.
was a solid journalist, and I really enjoyed his work. But
Yeah, I
he
liked him.
retired in May of 2016 and died yesterday at the age of 75.
Don't retire. Don't retire. Can't retire. Gotta keep at it.
Too
You
soon,
know?
Dan.
No, that's not a comment on Mike Parker.
No,
it's just
okay.
a comment. Generally, I like Mike Parker. Sad to see him. So condolences to Mike Parker's family. All right. Part of the election formulation is national security related. Obviously, a lot of discussion over the last 2 years about America's enemies and how to make the world a safer place with respect to North Korea, with respect to Russia, with respect to unrest in Central America and South America. And so does this factor into people's consideration in terms of which party they want in charge of Congress after tomorrow night's election? Well, there's a couple of big issues on the table, Iran and the caravan. Let's talk about them both with Cliff May. He is the president of the Foundation for the Defense of Democracies. Cliff, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Good to be with you, Dan and Amy.
Why don't we start with Iran? Mike Pompeo saying yesterday that the sanctions the sanctions being reimposed are the toughest sanctions ever put in place on Iran, and that this administration is following a policy of maximum pressure on the mullahs in Iran. How did you react to this reimposition of sanctions, and what does that mean for our relationship with Iran, and particularly at a precarious time with Saudi Arabia sort of the other pole in the Middle East?
Sure. I must say I'm very encouraged by the fact that this administration does intend to put serious pressure on Iran. We have been putting pressure on Iran for a while. The question is whether we're really going to put the pedal to the metal or not. And the sanctions that come into that are being reimposed as of today do that. In particular, there's something called the SWIFT messaging system. SWIFT means Society for Worldwide Interbank Financial Telecommunications. It's the electronic system by which deals get done and payments get made around the world. And when we de-SWIFted, we took Iran off SWIFT years ago, back before in 2013, it really isolates Iran from the world economy to do that. The Iranians really didn't want that. The Europeans didn't want us to do that. I think it was not. There was a lot of debate inside the administration whether such a tough measure would be implemented, and we are. And this administration has only a couple of years to try to do something serious about Iran. The new sanctions, getting Iran off SWIFT, that puts serious pressure on Iran's economy and on the mullahs who rule that country. I think it's very important. It's a serious move.
Yeah, and the Iranians are none too happy. I mean, this morning they were burning the American flag, holding up pictures of Trump. But
they've been doing that for 40 years, of course.
Right. No, I know.
Mind, but they are angry today because this is really going to put some real pressure on them. Pressure on them either to renegotiate an agreement that actually keeps them from getting nuclear weapons and the missiles to deliver them, an agreement that stops them from continuing their march across the Middle East, trying to be the hegemon, the conqueror, the new imperialist power, and stops them from sponsoring terrorism. They're the world's leading sponsor of terrorism. They've just been foiled in a plot to kill an opposition figure in Denmark. The Danes are very angry and are pushing now among the Europeans for more pressure. And another plot to blow up a conference in Paris of opposition leaders also was foiled. Now maybe they begin to think we better change our behavior if we want to get out from under this economic pressure.
Those protests in Tehran were indistinguishable from a P-hat march on the Mall. I mean, really. So, I mean, what's the difference?
I didn't realize that.
So, just sticking with that region. So, what's the status of MBS and our relationship with Saudi Arabia? How do you see that playing out?
Well, the relations are strained, obviously, because of the killing of Jamal Khashoggi, who was a Saudi, an opposition figure living in Washington, writing for the Washington Post. We don't know a lot about the internal politics of Saudi Arabia. What appears is that the King Salman, he wants his son Mohammed bin Salman, who is the crown prince, to succeed him. What's happened with Khashoggi hasn't changed that. What the Saudis are saying right now, whether you believe them or not, is that Mohammed bin Salman, the crown prince, did not order this assassination, although it was carried out by Saudis. 18 Saudis have been arrested. And they're also saying, we understand this is a bit of a crisis in the relationship between the U.S. and Saudi Arabia. We've had such crises in the past. We will get over it. We have important interests in common, not least in regard to Iran, which the Saudis see as an existential threat. And in order to have these sanctions that we have, we do need the Saudis to pump more oil, to make sure that the oil markets aren't spooked, that the price of gasoline does not skyrocket. So it's a difficult time, and we have allies in the world, and we also have what I would call strategic partners. We don't see eye to eye with them. We don't approve of their practices, but that doesn't mean we can get rid of them entirely.
So over the weekend, we learned from Homeland Security that this caravan that's coming now, 12,000 strong, the numbers, there's a lot of vacillation going on there, but the latest report is 12,000, and that people inside this caravan are from 20 different countries. Do you think President Trump is making the right decision by sending troops to the border to stop this so-called invasion?
I wish he didn't have to do that, but I'm not sure. But I think something has to be done. I don't understand the point of view that says anybody from any country who wants to come here gets to come here. We take them in. We give them a court date. We release them. They are entitled to all the rights of U.S. citizens, all the entitlements of the American welfare state. If it's 7,000, if it's 12,000, if it's 1 million, that's okay. At a certain point, do we not have to have secure borders and have an immigration system that American citizens decide upon, where we say, here's how many we can take, here's how many we can assimilate, here's whose we prefer. I just don't. A country that has no borders is not a country. And I don't think we're having a very productive debate about this. I don't think we have had for a very long time. But I do understand why the president says, I'm just not going to let thousands and thousands of people march across and say, here's what you owe me. I'm on that side of the fence there.
When it comes to the possibility of a change in leadership of the House, meaning Democrat takeover, How much would that impact what this administration is doing in the border security, foreign policy areas?
Well, look, at a certain point, and this point should have come a long time ago, Congress should be making laws, it seems to me, about immigration, and Congress hasn't done so, and that's partly because Republicans and Democrats can't agree on what those laws should be. I don't think it makes it any easier to get those laws passed, but perhaps maybe Congress will try to stop the president from doing what he wants to do to secure the borders. One can say that's already been the case. You'll recall that he said, "Look, I will essentially give amnesty to the DACA people, those who came in with their parents, but they were too young to have known that they were coming across the border. But I want to be able to secure the border. I want a wall. I don't see another way to do it." And the Democrats didn't take him up on that offer. So I think this fight goes on for a long time, whether or not the House changes hands. But at some point, do we not have to make a decision about what our immigration policy is? Are we really leaving this to others? I don't think it should be just the president who decides this. But Congress has not done its job, and I say that from a bipartisan perspective. Congress on both sides of the aisle has not done what is necessary to reform immigration in a way that is sane.
He is Cliff May, president of the Foundation for Defense of Democracies. Cliff, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thank you, guys.
And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
This is the morning show more Chicago radio listeners are choosing. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
The following is a paid political announcement.
Did you hear that Tony Preckwinkle and Mike Madigan have spent over $300,000 in ads just to take out Tim Schneider? Tim Schneider is our tax watchdog on the Cook County Board.
No.
Yes, and Tim's opponent, Kevin Morrison, says he wants to create smart new ways to create revenue for Cook County.
That sounds expensive.
It sure does. We need Tim Schneider on the Cook County Board to fight for taxpayers. Now, Tim has never voted for a property tax increase. And Tim has never voted for a sales tax increase. Tim Schneider did lead the repeal of that awful soda tax.
Really? I didn't know that.
Yes, and Tim Schneider has been endorsed by the Chicago Sun-Times, Daily Herald, and the Chicago Tribune, each describing him as a champion for taxpayers and for fighting off the Chicago machine. The Tribune said Schneider is an extraordinary board member who is sensitive to the big tax burdens on homeowners and employers.
Well, I already pay too much in taxes. I'm voting for Timothy Owen Schneider.
Paid for by Citizens for Tim Schneider. The following is a paid political announcement.
Hey, where is Sleepin' Joe Donnelly? A whole caravan of illegal immigrants is headed towards the United States, and Donnelly is silent, not a peep. But in commercials, he pretends to be tough on the border. Ha! Donnelly voted for amnesty and endorsed Open Borders liberal Hillary Clinton for president.
Sleepy Joe.
Joe Donnelly isn't one of us anymore. He's one of them. Listen to Mike Braun.
Career politicians like Joe Donnelly will say anything to keep their jobs. The truth is, Donnelly voted against Judge Kavanaugh, for the Iran nuclear deal, and even backed Hillary Clinton for president. We deserve better. I spent my career in the real world, creating jobs and getting things done. In Washington, I'll fight to bring back good-paying jobs and fix our health care. I'm Mike Braun. I approve this message, and I ask for your vote.
Paid for by Mike Braun for Indiana.
The following is a paid political announcement.
Play ball!
That's Senator Joe Donnelly coming to the plate wearing a fake Indiana uniform. Donnelly says he always swings for Indiana. But did Donnelly support Trump's nomination of Judge Brett Kavanaugh? No.
Strike one!
But did Donnelly support tax cuts to help Hoosier families and small businesses create jobs? No.
Strike two!
Did Donnelly vote to allow Christian ministries to receive funds to help young people find jobs? No.
Strike three! You're out, Donnelly!
On November 6th, you can bench Joe Donnelly for good.
Mike Braun is a lifetime Hoosier and successful conservative businessman from Jasper who graduated from Wabash College. Mike is pro-life and an avid defender of the Second Amendment. Hoosiers need Mike Braun to help drain the swamp. Elect Mike Braun to the U.S. Senate. Paid for by Patriotic Veterans, a nonprofit tax-exempt organization.
The following is a paid political announcement.
Did you hear that Tony Preckwinkle and Mike Madigan have spent over $300,000 in ads just to take out Tim Schneider? Tim Schneider is our tax watchdog on the Cook County Board.
No.
Yes, and Tim's opponent, Kevin Morrison, says he wants to create smart new ways to create revenue for Cook County.
That sounds expensive.
It sure does. We need Tim Schneider on the Cook County Board to fight for taxpayers. Now, Tim has never voted for a property tax increase. Tim has never voted for a sales tax increase. Tim Schneider did lead the repeal of that awful soda tax.
Really? I didn't know that.
Yes, and Tim Schneider has been endorsed by the Chicago Sun-Times, Daily Herald, and the Chicago Tribune, each describing him as a champion for taxpayers and for fighting off the Chicago machine. The Tribune said Schneider is an extraordinary board member who is sensitive to the big tax burdens on homeowners and employers.
Well, I already pay too much in taxes. I'm voting for Timothy Owen Schneider.
Paid for by Citizens for Tim Schneider.
They made fun of it on Saturday Night Live. MyPillow, I don't care. It's changed the way I sleep. I love it so much. So when I heard about the new MyPillow mattress topper, I couldn't wait to try it. And now I do not know if I love MyPillow or the MyPillow mattress topper more. It's that good. And now you can get a great deal on the MyPillow mattress topper and start getting the best sleep of your life. The exclusive 3-layer design includes MyPillow foam for support, transitional foam to help relieve pressure points, and an ultra-soft patented temperature regulating cover. It has a 10-year warranty and a cover that is washable and dryable. Made in the good old US of A and has Mike Lindell's 60-day money-back guarantee. You'll get the total body support you need and sleep better. And right now, you'll save 30% when you use the promo code Amy. Plus, you'll receive 2 standard MyPillows absolutely free when you get that MyPillow mattress topper. And you can still receive the buy one, get one free offer. Just what you want in time for the holidays. Keep one for yourself. Give the gift of a great night's sleep to the one you love. MyPillow.com. Type Amy in that promo code AMY or call 800-489-0201. That's 800-489-0201.
Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies in a capsule.
This stuff is the best stuff I've ever taken. I don't take any medicine. I take nothing. If I get a little scratchy throat or even a headache, I take the vegetables. It works very fast. Or I'm feeling like a little down, tired. I take 3 of them, 4 of them, and I'm right up back to where I was. It's unreal how this stuff works, and I rave about it. This guy's a genius when it comes down to it. If anyone's skeptical about taking something, I get it. There's thousands of products out there. Look, you can be confident in this because the one thing that makes me really, really happy about is that you guys make the capsule out of a plant-based product. It's not crap. It's real food, like you would put on the dinner table.
For a limited time, use discount code CHICAGO, and we'll take 35% off your first preferred set of fruits and veggies and have them shipped to you free. Call 800-246-8751 or go online to balanceofnature.com and use discount code CHICAGO.
AM 560, The Answer.
Dan and Amy, and nice to see ESPN hoist by their own leftism over the weekend. They brought James Carville, that serpent-headed goof, onto College Game Day.
Why?
Because to preview the LSU-Alabama game, because he's an LSU guy.
And they got skunked.
Yeah, he's a raging Cajun.
26 zip.
He's a conspiracy theorist is what he is. Okay. Listen to James Carville fold the SEC commissioner into the vast right-wing conspiracy.
The Tennessee's best defensive player couldn't play against Alabama because of the SEC. Missouri's best defensive player couldn't play against Alabama because the SEC kicked him out. A&M's best defensive player couldn't play against Alabama because he was taken out. And now the best defensive player in the conference is not going to play the first half because for nothing. He did nothing wrong.
Yeah. What was that? Tennessee's starting cornerback didn't play the first half. As you mentioned, you were a little off, but Alabama won the game 29-0.
Oh, 29-0.
So the starting cornerback was the key to Alabama's victory there, James. It was interesting because ESPN had to come back later on in the day and apologize for Carville's conspiracy theorizing.
We have an apology to make on behalf of ESPN. While appearing as a guest on College Game Day earlier today, James Carville offered his thoughts on SEC Commissioner Greg Sankey. As we regularly demonstrate here on ESPN, diverse opinions are encouraged.
Yeah, right.
However, these actions were over the top, and we would like to apologize to Commissioner Sankey for them.
Sort of a fun version of the left embarrassing the left.
Speaking of college football, the ASU football game, did you watch it this weekend?
No, I saw McSally sing the national anthem.
Well, what do you think?
Can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleam?
Yeah, it's pretty good. Yeah, I mean, she's not Jim Corneliuson, but she's not bad.
Well, I'm just saying, I like to see Cinnamon or whatever that ladies, God, wretched ladies, who she can't sing her way out of a paper bag.
We know what McSally was doing. We don't even know who Cinema was doing this weekend.
That's right.
I mean,
openly bisexual. And if you ever get to see her online, she has changed her looks so many times, and women only do that to escape themselves. They don't want to look themselves in the mirror. So I don't know what she's running from.
I don't know what the heck happened to Arizona, or if this is all sort of Jeff Flake's doing. But the fact that is even a close race,
it's sickening,
is so troubling. As is this. It's good to have a rivalry between the armed services, but Army took it a bit too far. The Air Force mascot, a 22-year-old falcon.
Oh, that beautiful white falcon. What happened to it?
Has suffered potentially life-threatening injuries after a prank leading up to the rivalry matchup game against Army. Apparently, the falcon's wing got hurt while he was in Army captivity. Boy. They're hoping
they're
that
have hell to pay for that.
They're hoping that he'll survive. But that certainly intensifies the rivalry between the two service academies. So you got that going for you.
You think animal abuse is never good. Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Mike Pence says Republicans will keep the House. We'll ask Wisconsin Republican Sean Duffy if he agrees at 8:08.
And Republicans calling for Susana Mendoza to drop out of the comptroller's race. We'll tell you why. But first, here's Mike Scott.
A deadly hit-and-run investigated in Ford Heights. A man dies, a woman missing after a Lake Michigan swim. Bears pound the Bills in Buffalo, and the Bulls take on the Knicks tonight. WIND, Chicago News Time. It's 8 o'clock.
Ohio, Indiana, Missouri. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. That's where President Trump will hold 3 final rallies the day before the elections.
This is the greatest political movement in the history of our country, maybe ever.
I was in Georgia yesterday. He also went to Tennessee, and he railed against the caravan of Central American migrants still making their way here. He says going to send as many as 15,000 soldiers to the border.
Men and women of our military deserve better than that.
Former President Obama campaigning for Democrats who hope for a blue wave that gives them the House and maybe the Senate. Fox's Rachel Sutherland live in Washington.
Dave, the balance of power in the Senate hangs on key races in red states where Democrats are up for re-election. President Trump will spend part of Election Eve in Indiana, where Republican Mike Braun is trying to unseat incumbent Senator Joe Donnelly. President Obama rallied in Indiana yesterday.
Make sure that we send Joe Donnelly back to the U.S. Senate.
President Trump will hold a primetime rally tonight in Missouri, where Republican Josh Hawley has a slight lead over incumbent Senator Claire McCaskill.
She didn't even vote for Justice Kavanaugh. Think of that.
For the Senate to turn blue, Democrats would need to gain 2 net seats. Dave.
Rachel, one of the stories on NBC's Saturday Night Live Weekend Update caused controversy. They put up a picture of Dan Crenshaw, an Afghan war veteran who wears an eye patch.
You may be surprised to hear he's a congressional candidate from Texas and not a hitman in a porno movie. I'm sorry, I know he lost his eye in war or whatever.
Well, Crenshaw this morning just told Fox and Friends.
Why can't we give the American people a break and separate comedy from politics? This one was pretty inappropriate.
No, he says that SNL should probably apologize, but Crenshaw won't demand one that he says will probably be an empty and hollow one. This is Fox News.
We've had a peek at the sun this morning, but mostly gray skies. 8:02 on AM 560. The Answer. Good morning. I'm Mike Scott. Illinois Governor Bruce Rauner out campaigning this evening in the western suburbs ahead of tomorrow's election. The Republican attending a rally at Benedictine University. The governor and First Lady Diana Rauner made campaign stops around the state yesterday, including in St. Charles and Orland Park, as former President Barack Obama rallied Chicagoans to the voting booth ahead of tomorrow's election.
You get to vote in what I believe will be the most important election of our lifetimes.
Speaking at a rally in Gary, Indiana, the former president also urged voters there to send Joe Donnelly back to the Senate in Indiana. Authorities are investigating a deadly hit-and-run crash in Ford Heights. Cook County Sheriff's Office this morning says a person was struck by a vehicle while walking in the roadway near Lincoln Highway and Transportation Drive. The driver sped off after the incident. An Itasca man is dead, an Elgin woman missing after the two went swimming in Lake Michigan near Highland Park. Authorities say the pair began struggling after going into the water during a polar plunge type event at Park Avenue Beach. Chicago sports, Jordan Howard, a pair of touchdowns. First place Bears pound the Bills 41-9 in Buffalo. Bulls are in New York tonight. They'll take on the Knicks. 8:03 is our time. It's time for an AM 560 Business Beat. And from the Fox Business Network, here's Jenny Casola.
From the Fox Business Network, home improvement chain Lowe's is closing 51 stores with weak sales. There are 20 locations closing in the U.S., and most are within 10 miles of another Lowe's store. Lowe's says most employees at the closing stores will be offered similar jobs at locations nearby. The Papa Gino's chain has abruptly closed an unknown number of restaurants in the Boston area and New Hampshire. The Boston Globe says company representatives have not responded to email requests for information. Verizon is reorganizing into 3 different businesses effective the first of the year. The company announced this morning it's separating into consumer, business, and a media unit. The Dow Jones Industrials dropped 109 points on Friday. The Nasdaq dropped 77, and the S&P lost 17. With the Fox Business Report, I'm Jenny Cosola.
8:04 and a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Not a day goes by without a terrorist attack somewhere in the world, or violence right here in our own streets. It can be paralyzing, which is why we're here at AM 560. We try to make sense of it all. But sometimes you're looking for a deeper understanding of life's most troubling issues. We'd like to encourage you to check out our sister station, AM 1160, Hope for Your Life. We'll still be here when you come back, but give them a listen at AM 1160 or online at 1160hope.com, because even when you have the answers, you still need hope.
The following is a paid political announcement.
Rich, poor, Republican, Democrat, we're all the same when it comes to property taxes.
We're not going to be living in Illinois anymore, and it's due to the property taxes.
Go to SaveYourHomeNow.org. You stay. The politicians go. Liberty Principles paid for this ad and is solely responsible for its content.
If you're self-employed and purchase your own health insurance, I have some good news. From now until December 15th, you cannot be denied coverage based on a pre-existing condition, and depending on your income, you may find a more affordable plan. And this year, thanks to President Trump, if you're healthy and your income is too high to qualify for a subsidy, there is a new and competitive non-Obamacare marketplace where premiums are much lower and the PPO networks include access to our teaching hospitals in Chicago. Employers who provide small group coverage also have new options, and so do seniors looking for Medicare supplement coverage. Call me, I can help.
If you're tired of calling a bureaucrat at an 800 number to help you navigate Obamacare, then you need a local expert on your side. Your own health insurance mentor. C. Stephen Tucker from healthinsurancementors.com is someone I know and trust. He's a 20-year licensed broker who's been educating our listeners for 7 years. Steve, how can our listeners get in touch with you?
Thanks, Dan. They can visit healthinsurancementors.com or call me directly at 630-674-1551.
The following is a paid political announcement.
Hi, this is Congressman Randy Hultgren. I want to tell you why I'm running for re-election to the U.S. House of Representatives and to ask for your support. I've accomplished a lot during my time in Congress. We have the lowest unemployment in years and a record number of new jobs. We've cut taxes, passed regulatory reform, put ISIS on their heels, and repealed the individual mandate of Obamacare. But there's still a lot to be done, and that's why I'm asking for your vote. We need healthcare reform that lowers costs and expands choices while continuing to protect the coverage of those with pre-existing conditions, which I've worked for and supported my entire career. We must reduce the size and scope as well as the cost of the federal government, and we have to protect programs for our seniors and veterans. You don't have to wait until November 6th to cast your vote. You can vote today at any one of the early voting locations in your county. For more information and to help find the location in your neighborhood, visit randyhultgren.com/early voting. I'm so grateful for your continued support, and together we will keep working for the 14th District and for Illinois, paid for by Hultgren for Congress.
All money managers may seem pretty much the same. But while some money managers may recommend high commission investment products, Fisher Investments avoids them. Some money managers may have hidden and layered fees. Fisher Investments never does. And while some money managers are happy to earn commissions from you, whether you do well or not, Fisher Investments fees are structured so we do better when you do better. In other words, we're structured to be on your side. Maybe that's why most of our clients come to us from other money managers. Talk with us and find out why so many experienced investors are switching to and staying with Fisher Investments. Fisher Investments, clearly better money management. Investments in securities involve the risk of loss. Visit us at FisherInvestments.com to find out what we can do for you.
It's 8:08. Let's get a check on the roads in the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center with Jim Talamonte.
Metra has delays on the Union Pacific North line due to mechanical problems. Eden's inbound runs 24 minutes, Lake Hook to Montrose, outbound 29 to Kennedy, 55 minutes O'Hare to downtown, 37 from Montrose, 26 in the Express, outbound 45 minutes to the airport, the Eisenhower, an hour and 5 minutes, 390 to downtown, outbound 52 minutes. Stevenson, an hour 13, 355 to the drive, outbound 45 minutes, minus 30 minutes, 95th to downtown. I-57, 38 minutes, I-80 to the merge, Bishop Ford 42. Southbound Tri-State delays are 120 to 176, 2 to the Adams Tollway. Northbound Harlem to 47th and Roosevelt to Balmoral. Northbound Veterans Memorial is heavy, Fountain most of the way to St. Charles and Army Trail to 290. That's traffic. I'm Jim Talamonte from the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center on AM 560 The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the 1 Hour Heating and Air Conditioning Weather Center and meteorologist Kevin Snyder.
Mostly cloudy day with a little late afternoon rain, high 52. Rain will continue through the night tonight with a low of 44. Then tomorrow turning out to be a mostly cloudy and windy day with gusts up to 30 miles per hour, high of 50. I'm Kevin Snyder on AM 560, The Answer.
45 at O'Hare. Next news, 8:30. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560, The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. We're talking before the news about the Arizona Senate race and what a conundrum it is that Martha McSally is in such a tight contest against Kyrsten Sinema.
It's mind-blowing, and I'm losing sleep over it, so I actually did something and called 10 of my friends that I know who are from Illinois who moved to Arizona to make sure that they're voting for Colonel Martha McSally.
Well, Scott emailed us with one suggestion as to why it's a problem, and you're sort of hitting upon it. He said the problem in Arizona is half of California has moved to Arizona. They don't need a wall on the southern border. They need a wall on their western border.
Oh yeah, property taxes are a lot. Well, also land is a lot cheaper in Arizona.
Well, I get that. I mean, I've heard that before, but also then the disparity. I mean, the governor there, Ducey, is in a walk against his Democrat opponent, where McSally is in a dogfight. It's a little bit of the same thing in Texas, where Abbott is cruising to re-election and Cruz is in a battle with O'Rourke. So
it's disconcerting because you have Martha McSally who served our country, and at the same time she's serving our country, putting her life on the line. You've got Cinnamon, or whatever her name is. I call her Cinnamon because it sounds better.
If she loses that race, she's probably going to change her name to Cinnamon for her next career.
Exactly. You see her in a pink tutu with pink hair, and then one time she had purple hair, and she's not a serious person. I don't understand. And she's sexually deviant. She's openly bisexual.
Well,
it's so strange to me.
Well, it's the same thing in Florida. I mean, everything's going so well in Florida. Rick Scott's done a great job as governor there.
Yeah.
And you're entertaining going with the Democrat Socialist for governor, continuing to have a seat warmer in Bill Nelson as your senator. It's just bizarre to me. And that also includes Wisconsin, which we're going to get to in a moment. But Trump senses that there's something afoot out on the hustings. This is a Trump to the press pool prior to taking off for his rallies in Georgia and Tennessee this weekend.
I think we're going to do well in the House. I think we're going to do really well in the Senate. And there is something going on out there. And I think you know what I mean. There's something going on. There's something that's very interesting that's happening. The level of fervor, the level of fever is very strong on the Republican side. So I can't speak to the blue, but I can speak to the red. There's a lot of energy out there. They want to see border security. They don't want people pouring into our country. They don't want open borders. They don't want to pay for other people's health care. There's a lot of enthusiasm on the Republican side.
Well,
Then later when he was in Belgrade, Montana, he said that there's a possibility that we could lose the House, that it could go Democratic.
Well, of course, there's a possibility. Pence says they're going to keep it. There better be enthusiasm north of the Cheddar Curtain because you got to see Walker get reelected. And here's another race I can't believe how far behind Tammy Baldwin is Leah Vukmir. For more in the Senate race, for more on this, we're pleased to be joined by our friend Sean Duffy, a congressman from the 7th District in Wisconsin. Sean, thanks for being with us. Appreciate it.
Hey, it's great to be with you guys again. Thanks for having me on.
Well, let's start locally, meaning in Wisconsin, for you, and handicap Walker and Vukmir for us.
So I would just note for Wisconsin, we have the best modelers in our state because we spent so much money on the recalls.
Yeah.
We're the best party and the best modelers of any state in the country. No offense to Illinois, but
we have the worst. Okay. Yeah, so that's not a no offense.
We know our role. We know our ranking.
And so we're in a place where I think Walker is up by a hair, and Leah Vukmir, who is running against Tammy Baldwin, is down by a hair. So it's going to be very close, and it's going to be about turnout in our state. But Scott Walker, he's a great campaigner. I was just with him last night in Wausau, Wisconsin. And he's been barnstorming the state, and he's running out his record. I mean, we have an unemployment rate that is, lower than the national average. It's, at 2.8% unemployment. There's more jobs in our state than we have people to actually fill them. And that's a remarkable turnaround from where we were under, our prior governor and under Barack Obama. So I'm feeling really good about our race. You talked about Arizona. If I could just comment, I know both of Kristen Sinema and McSally. And it's an interesting race, two members of Congress running against each other. And what I find happening in Arizona, also in Texas and in Wisconsin, is you have liberal, progressive, socialist Democrats who run as Republicans in Republican states. And they talk about tax cuts and regulation and reduce, government inhibitors. We want more liberty for the American people. It's all bogus. These are big government, big tax Democrats who are hiding their votes and running as moderate Republicans. And we can't let the voters be duped.
So back to Wisconsin, why is Scott Walker's race so tight? I can't fathom this.
Well, Governor Walker, our state's, it's a 50-50 state. It's very close. And all of his races have been close, right? We're not a red state. It's at best purple. And so when Walker wins, he wins by, a couple points. That's just how tight it always is. And what normally happens in Wisconsin is Governor Walker starts out, down in the polls, and it's usually in the last, 2 weeks to 10 days, he surges and, comes up above that 50% mark. We're seeing that same thing happen right now.
Well, good. He better. We got to have someplace for Illinoisans to move. Here's the thing with Wisconsin so interesting, because it's not like here where we've decided to commit economic suicide as a group of 13 million people, 12 and declining. You guys, you got Ron Johnson on one side, you got Tammy Baldwin on the other. That's sort of a bit of schizophrenia.
It is. And what's outrageous is Tammy Baldwin is running ads in Wisconsin saying that she's a tax cutter, that she's voting to cut taxes, and she runs ads like this. And she's a Madison liberal who has voted 418 times to raise American taxes. And they get away with this stuff. And people people who don't know better because they don't know the voting records, and if you don't have the money to push back on it like Leah Vukmir does not, it becomes very challenging, to draw a distinction between where we want to take the country. And so she tells us one thing in her ads and then goes out and is a radical liberal when she gets out to Washington, D.C. That's the trouble that we face in a lot of these races. I mean, Kristen Sinema, same thing in Arizona, radical lefty, but plays a moderate in her campaign ads.
So how do you handicap control of the House?
So here's what I'd tell you. So for the last year and a half, we knew this was going to be a tough cycle for us just because of the president's party and the non-presidential year always has a tough time. And so we knew that if the generic ballot is, do you want a Republican or a Democrat in Congress, right? You don't put a name on it. The generic ballot, if it was Democrat by a 6-point majority, we keep the House. If it was Democrat by 7 points, we have a shot at keeping the House, but it was going to be tough. Yesterday, NBC, Wall Street Journal, the last poll I saw, has the generic ballot at Democrat +7, which means there is no blue wave, and we have a fighting chance to keep the House. But we're looking at races like Peter Roskam in Illinois, and I just heard Randy Holgren's ad while I was waiting to come on with you guys. Those are important races for us to make sure we keep the House. These are kind of the firewall for us in Hillary Clinton districts, but you have great members of Congress who are running, and it's those kind of races that are going to decide whether you have a Republican speaker or if you have Nancy Pelosi as your speaker. I'm on financial services. We control the plumbing of free enterprises as the capital markets and banking and insurance. If we lose the House, Maxine Waters, a socialist, will be in charge of free markets in America.
Oh, yeah.
It's mind-blowing that this is what we could have for our country. And they can't do a whole lot of damage because we have the president there. But what they're going to do is they're going to try to distract him and destroy him off the mission of making American lives better and more prosperous and making us stronger as a country and securing our borders and making sure we have continued American energy independence. And I think that message has to resonate. Also, they talk about health care. They're running on health care. All these ads on health care, they broke health care.
Right.
With Obamacare, if you're poor and get a subsidy in the exchange, it works for you. But and you're rich, you have the money to buy a gold-plated plan. But if you're in the middle, prices for health care on the exchanges have gone up dramatically. A family of four paying $2,000 a month with a $7,000 deductible, they ruined health care. And now they want to tell us that they're the ones to fix it is a really head-scratching message for Democrats.
Now, CNN reported this morning that Paul Ryan had called President Trump last night and said, hey, the remaining 3 stops of this campaign for the midterms, please talk more about the economy and less about the caravan. Do you agree with that?
I don't. I think you should talk about the economy and the caravan. In a way, you could look at it like this. The economy is almost looking in the rearview mirror. We have done such a great job on these policies that allowed the economy to grow. That's a bit of a rearview mirror. We want to keep this thing going. But if you're looking forward, what is a threat that we face in the country? It's border security. And, allowing, I don't know if the caravan's at 4,000 or 7,000 people. I don't know what the actual number is right now. But you can't let, your border be stormed by people who are going to demand entry and break our law coming from countries that the main problem is that they don't follow the law. They don't have rule of law. So they come here to start off breaking our laws, and they're beating up Mexican police. So I think it's a big issue that motivates Republican voters because we are rule of law folks. We want to make sure that we follow the laws, that we support our law enforcement and our military. And we're a country of immigrants. We want people to be able to come into this country, but we want them to come lawfully, not by way of a caravan demanding entrance into this great United States of America.
Yeah, I think that's right. Look, there's two indicators. One is the fact that Democrats don't want to talk about the caravan. That should tell you that you do want to talk about it. And number two, look, we can wish that everybody was fascinated by supply and demand curves and just dollars and cents issues all we want. But the polling prior to Kavanaugh told us that border security was the number one issue for Trump voters that you need to turn out in this midterm. And so, you can walk and chew gum at the same time at these rallies. You can cover more than one topic, and you can actually connect the two under his whole kind of jobs, not mobs rubric.
The president's speaking for over an hour. It's not like he's doing short rallies. He talks forever,
Exactly.
Which is great. But I think another issue that's on the ballot here, too, is Democrats are not the party of John F. Kennedy anymore. I mean, JFK, I wasn't alive for him, but he said, ask not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country. That's not the Democrats anymore. They're saying, what freebies can we give you from the federal government? JFK was a guy who cut taxes like we have. He's someone who rebuilt the American military. Democrats have been taken over by this socialist movement. And I believe in a two-party system. I want a strong Democrat Party and a strong Republican Party, because you don't want a one-party country. That's a bad thing. But I don't want a Democrat Party that's a radical leftist party. And the way that we knock out the socialism from the Democrat Party is we actually win in this election. And if we win, we're going to make Democrats go back to the drawing board and say, okay, what policies are actually going to help average Americans, whether they're in Illinois or Wisconsin or Indiana or Ohio. We got to get rid of these left-wing nut jobs on the coast from New York and California that drive the politics of the Democrat Party, because it doesn't work in Middle America, because it doesn't make any economic sense. So that's a real benefit if we keep the House and gain seats in the Senate. Is socialism, I think, dies within the Democrat Party.
He is Sean Duffy, a Republican congressman from Wisconsin's 7th. Sean, good luck both locally and federally tomorrow. Thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Dan, and thank you, Amy.
And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
Listen to Dan and Amy on your smartphone. Download the AM560 mobile app today at 560theanswer.com/mobile.
The school year started just a short time ago, but it's not too late for your son or daughter to get the outstanding education and preparation for life that St. John's Northwestern Military Academy offers with their ongoing enrollment program. For years, St. John's Northwestern Military Academy has served young men and is now an excellent co-ed environment. Not a school for troubled kids, but one that will prepare young men and women for college by focusing on rigorous academics and leadership with a safe, secure, and structured environment free from distractions that's conducive to successful learning. St. John's Northwestern Military Academy in the beautiful Lake Country region of southeast Wisconsin inspires personal growth through a commitment to excellence in academics, spiritual and character development, athletics, and their military traditions. And there's still time to enroll your son or daughter for this school year. Call 1-800-SJ-CADET. That's 1-800-SJ-CADET, or visit their website, sjnma.org. That's sjnma.org.
Want your home's furnace to stay safe and reliable? And want to prevent any potential problems before they happen? At your local 1 Hour Heating and Air Conditioning, we recommend an annual furnace inspection and tune-up. Right now, get a $79 furnace tune-up. Call 855-1-HOUR. Because not taking care of your furnace, that's just cold.
Your comfort is just a call away. Call 1 Hour.
Terms and conditions may apply. Call for details. Independently owned and operated. Licensed in the respective state or county.
The following is a paid political announcement.
Hello, voters of DuPage County. My name is Chris Randall, and I'm a veteran of 2 combat deployments. Today, I'm speaking with you about the toughest and best commander I've ever had, Kevin Wiley. He's running for DuPage County District 6 County Board. I've been in some tough situations in my life and served with some of the finest Americans in our nation. And I can confidently say today that Kevin Wiley was the finest commander I've ever worked for. In an army of great leaders, he was primus inter pares, first among equals. Please vote for my friend and commander, Kevin Wiley, for DuPage County District 6.
Paid for by Wiley for DuPage County.
Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies in a capsule.
I'm definitely feeling better, because now that I'm feeling better, I have more energy to be able to do more things. Before I couldn't, I was in severe pain with my back, and I really couldn't function without taking an ibuprofen, and I haven't had to do that.
The first day energy level was up by about 30%. Stamina was probably up 40%. Alertness was probably 20-25%. Afternoons, I'd get groggy, doggy. Just in 2 days, that is gone.
For a limited time, use discount code CHICAGO, and we'll take 35% off your first preferred set of fruits and veggies and have them shipped to you free. Call 800-246-8751 or go online to balanceofnature.com and use discount code CHICAGO.
AM 560, The Answer.
Dan and Amy, last half hour, it's potpourri. It's
Yeah?
dealer's choice. Any race you want to talk about, ballot initiative, state, local, federal. We'll take your calls, 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro, answer line 64636DA. Turnkey Pro text line. Amy's got all the answers to all the questions you
Oh,
have.
exactly. Hey, don't. Are you being mean?
No, including here's the first one, including what office Susana Mendoza is going to run for next.
Oh, oopsie, we had a little bit of a leak, a 6-second mistake you might want to call it, but listen carefully to this campaign commercial that was accidentally leaked on Friday.
I'm Susana Mendoza, and I'm running for mayor of Chicago. And I ask you to join me on this journey together.
So,
Yeah.
apparently when she was taping her campaign ad to be comptroller, the person in charge, Eric Edelstein, said, hey, while we're here, why don't you just record something else for us?
The fact that Susana Mendoza is looking at running for mayor is probably the worst kept secret in Chicago politics.
Excuse me, that was Laura Washington.
We were out there filming ads for the re-election, and I said, as long as we're here, as long as you're thinking about it, we should probably record some lines.
And the line that she's running for mayor. Now her competitor, Darlene Sanger, is calling her a liar, says she should drop out of the race.
And she's been a liar in saying that she's not going to focus on anything but the comptroller's race. She's not. And that's wrong. She's made up her mind. I mean, there's no question at all. If you're spending money putting announcements together that you're running for the mayor of Chicago, you're running for the mayor of Chicago.
Yeah, Eric, I mean, nice cover by Eric there, but...
well, who's the mole? Who leaked this?
You have a mole in your office? I'm not going to speculate on how or why it got out, but it got out, and here we are.
Yeah.
Here we are.
So we had Darlene Sanger, her Republican opponent, on several weeks back. We knew this. Was the worst kept secret in Chicago politics. Edelstein is right about that. The problem is that what Darlene Sanger said, that she's lying, she's misrepresenting herself, and even bigger problem is that she's Madigan's candidate for mayor. So she's going to, kick her soccer ball around with a different office title under her name after tomorrow. She'd just be a toady for Mike Madigan. Susana Mendoza will be Mike Madigan's candidate for mayor in that race, and so you've got Madigan with Pritzker, Madigan, Cullerton. And now he'll just going to try and get the mayoralty with Mendoza. That's what's actually going on.
It's so wrong.
People don't care.
I know, but if you haven't voted yet, honestly, you need to vote for Darlene Sanger.
Jane and Roscoe, you're on Chicago's Morning.
Hey there. Yes, I'm a pro-life voter, and I am totally incensed that Sam McCann, the supposed conservative candidate for governor, is calling himself the pro-life choice in this election when he has sent out mailers to three Republican pro-life candidates for the House, including John Cabello in Rockford and Tom Morrison.
Many others.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks for the call. So Sam McCann, if you haven't been clued in on this, and the mailers you received from Sam McCann is being used as a tool of Mike Madigan through the Operating Engineers Local 150, who's financing his campaign in that mail to attack conservative, pro-life, conservative suburban legislators like Cabello and Rockford and Morrison and Palatine and Breen and Lombard and many others, including challenger races. So Sam McCann may be pro-life personally, and he may have been a Republican state senator, but he decided to be used by Local 150 to advance the interests of Madigan, and so you should factor that in and not get hoodwinked by that very transparent play that McCann is making and who is pulling his strings.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
We'll continue our discussion on this topic and fold in a open letter to suburban moms at 8:38.
But first, let's get into the newsroom. Here is Mike Scott.
Amy and Dan, good morning. Good morning, everyone. Tomorrow's the big day for voters to elect who will control the U.S. House and Senate, governor's races, and local races around the country, who are also weighing control of state houses and senates as well. Tomorrow's the day, but today the president has 3 rallies on his schedule, rallying Republicans to the polls. Press Secretary Sarah Sanders says it's going to be a busy one.
The president's got another packed day. Nobody has worked harder, particularly when their name is not on the ballot, than President Trump has. But he's not just doing it at these rallies. He's been doing it every single day by impacting good policy and making our country better.
Cleveland, and then Fort Wayne, Indiana, and then Cape Girardeau, Missouri. for the rallies for the president. Still unclear if that blue wave is actually sweeping or losing momentum heading into the midterms. Political expert Dr. Sean Foreman says one thing is clear in his mind. Energy on both sides is now very high.
Democrats seem to be excited in their base, but Republicans are also chomping at the bit to get out there and defend Donald Trump.
Voters are already flocking to the polls in droves in early voting. National officials with the Girl Scouts say their hearts are broken following an apparent hit-and-run crash in Wisconsin. 4 girls, 1 adult were picking up trash along the road near Eau Claire when a pickup truck veered out of control off the road and ran them down. 3 of the girls, 1 adult died. 1 girl remains in critical condition. Jury selection begins today in Brooklyn in one of the biggest drug conspiracy trials ever, the trial of Joaquin El Chapo Guzman. He's accused of running one of the world's biggest drug cartels and impacting violence on the west and south sides of Chicago. Illinois Governor Bruce Rauner campaigning tonight in the western suburbs, the Republican rallying at Benedictine University, while former President Barack Obama rallied Chicago Democrats yesterday at UIC. Authorities continue to investigate a deadly hit-and-run crash this morning in Ford Heights. A person was walking in the roadway near Lincoln Highway and Transportation Drive. The driver, according to police, took off following the incident. Jordan Howard ran for a pair of scores. First place Bears pound the Bills 41-9 in Buffalo. Bulls in New York to take on the Knicks tonight. The news is service of E-Verify. Let's get to work with E-Verify, the modernized employment eligibility verification partner that can maximize your potential. They're helping employers throughout the hiring process so they can focus on their business. Get started with everify.gov/go. 8:34 and a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Dennis Prager explains the left's ideal situation.
Remember Nancy Pelosi? Didn't she see that once where we could sit back and write poetry and compose music? This is the ideal, that somehow you will be fed, clothed, and housed without actually doing anything. It's character destroying, socialism.
The Dennis Prager Show. Weekdays at 11, right before Sean Hannity at 2 on AM 560. The Answer.
The following is a paid political announcement.
Hi, this is Congressman Randy Hultgren. I want to tell you why I'm running for re-election to the U.S. House of Representatives and to ask for your support. I've accomplished a lot during my time in Congress. We have the lowest unemployment in years and a record number of new jobs. We've cut taxes, passed regulatory reform, put ISIS on their heels, and repealed the individual mandate of Obamacare. But there's still a lot to be done, and that's why I'm asking for your vote. We need healthcare reform that lowers costs and expands choices while continuing to protect the coverage of those with pre-existing conditions, which I've worked for and supported my entire career. We must reduce the size and scope as well as the cost of the federal government, and we have to protect programs for our seniors and veterans. You don't have to wait until November 6th to cast your vote. You can vote today at any one of the early voting locations in your county. For more information and to help find the location in your neighborhood, visit randyhultgren.com/early voting. I'm so grateful for your continued support, and together we will keep working for the 14th District and for Illinois, paid for by Hultgren for Congress.
You've heard of living trusts and how they can help protect your assets, but you may not know if a living trust is right for you. Or maybe you have questions about creating your own living trust. The fact is, almost everyone can benefit from a living trust, which can protect your assets from the court system and your loved ones from unnecessary expense and inconvenience. Learn more at a free seminar Wednesday, November 7th at Papa Joe's Restaurant in Orland Park. Estate planning attorney Robert Zapolis will explain how to create your own living trust, estate planning under the new tax laws, why a will does not avoid probate, and more. Have your estate planning and living trust questions answered absolutely free. Don't miss this important seminar Wednesday, November 7th at 6:30 at Papa Joe's Restaurant, 145th and LaGrange Road in Orland Park. The seminar is free and a complimentary dinner is served, but you must make a reservation now. Call 708-478-1400. 708-478-1400. The following is a paid political announcement.
Rich, poor, Republican, Democrat, we're all the same when it comes to property taxes.
We're not going to be living in Illinois anymore, and it's due to the property taxes.
Go to SaveYourHomeNow.org. You stay. The politicians go. Liberty Principles paid for this ad and is solely responsible for its content.
8:37, check on the roads in the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center with Jim Talamonte.
Kennedy and bad delays are from Montrose to the Bird Circle, 55 minutes O'Hare to downtown. 42 from Montrose, 37 on the Express. Outbound 38 to the airport. The Eden's fine inbound. Outbound 32 minutes to Lake Cook. About Eisenhower delays at St. Charles, 57 minutes, 390 to downtown. 42 from Mannheim. Outbound 45 minutes to 390. Stevenson, an hour and 5 minutes, 355 to Lakeshore Drive. Outbound 45 minutes. Lyon, 30 minutes, 95th to downtown. Southbound Tri-State tight from 22 to Deerfield Road at the Adams Stolway to Irving Park. Northbound 95th to 47th and from the Reagan Tollway to Balmoral. From the Reagan Tollway from 59 all the way to 355. Northbound Veterans Memorial from Boughton much of the way to North Avenue. It's traffic. I'm Jim Talamonte. From the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center on AM 560 The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the 1 Hour Heating and Air Conditioning Weather Center. Cloudy, bit of rain this afternoon, high 52. Currently 45 at O'Hare. Next news at 9. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560 The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by On Target Radio. From firearms and Second Amendment rights to personal freedoms and government intrusions. Listen here Sunday nights at 9.
If you're talking about it, I'll be talking about it. Dennis Prager here. Join me this morning at 11, right here on AM 560, The Answer.
312-642-5600, Turnkey.pro. Answer line, 64636DA, Turnkey.pro. Text line. Give us a call. You want to pick a race you want to discuss, and we'll discuss it. There's some interesting developments here in the 11th hour before Election Day tomorrow. Over the weekend, a Kavanaugh accuser, we find out, has recanted.
Oh, yeah, the one who claims that she wrote a letter to the hearing, to the committee, and said that she was raped by Kavanaugh inside a vehicle a long time ago, but she had to come forward. Well, she has recanted, basically saying that she lied about it. She came forward and came clean, and honestly, this woman should go to jail for what she did.
She wanted the attention. Yeah, did Jane Doe, Judy Monroe Layton. She accused Kavanaugh and his friend of raping her several times each in the back of a car. That's a fairly serious allegation.
I mean, can you imagine if he didn't become a justice of the Supreme Court because of this disgusting, false allegation?
It's just interesting because that generated so much heat. It's worth shedding a little light on what we know to be true as this continues. Now, this in addition to the fact that Julie Swetnick, one of the accusers, and Michael Avenatti, her scumbag porn lawyer, have both been referred to the Justice Department by Chuck Grassley. And against this backdrop,
too.
And against this backdrop, Google is facing a worldwide employee walkout over their settlements of sexual misconduct allegations with senior executives, including a $90 million payout to Andy Rubin, the creator of the Android operating system. So, I mean, again, just in terms of where the substance of the issue is, whether it becomes to the treatment of women in the workplace, the treatment of women in general. And so what's motivating some suburban moms to come out to send a message to Trump, is it? To send a message to Kavanaugh or to the Republicans per the Kavanaugh confirmation hearing? Is that it?
I mean, this woman was so sick, she said that it was a tactic to try and stop his confirmation.
I want to refer people again to this most excellent closing argument from Julie Kelly at amgreatness.com. Open letter to suburban moms.
This is ladies, if you're driving in your car right now, probably just dropping your kids off at school, turn up the radio and listen to this, please.
Julie Kelly, a suburban mom in Orland Park. I know you hate taking advice from someone who doesn't buy soy milk and organic bison meat, but if you would have listened to me about the rumchata shots at the club summer party, you wouldn't have jumped into the water hazard on the 18th hole. Caution. Because despite what Democrats are telling you, just remember one thing. They hate you. They hate you. You don't really think they're defending you, do you? The college-educated woman who quit work to raise her family, the mom who organized every school party, chaperoned every field trip, drove to every practice, music lesson, and game for years. The same mom who now stays up until the wee hours editing college essays and scheduling campus visits. The wife, who dutifully attends every business dinner, matches her husband's socks and lets him go on the guy's golf trip to Naples every winter. The woman who goes to Catholic Mass each Sunday and makes homemade soup for the neighbor when she's sick or after her mom passes away. Sorry, girl. They, the Democrats, have nothing for you. You are the woman they mock and whisper about behind your back. Think about it. When was the last time you heard a Democrat say, here's a shout out to all the snack moms in Naperville? 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro, answer line. 64636DA, turnkey.pro, text line. Marie in Algonquin.
Yes, good morning. I'd just like to ask if you're familiar with a Center for Voter Information, apparently based in Chicago on 27 North Wacker Drive. Have you heard of this voter information?
No. What is it? What is it?
This was a mailing I received. I live in Peter Roscom's district, and it had just 3 questions, and gave the answers for his challenger, Sean Casten. Just one of the questions, do the candidates support making it easier for the mentally ill or convicted felons to obtain firearms? And Democrat Casten said no, but Republican Roscom said yes.
Yeah, right. So it's a gun control mailer, and it's right, anti-gun group that's mailing for Casten. Right. No surprise there. Thanks for the call, Marie. Here's Sean Casten's closing arguments. You hear this? Sean Casten on a podcast. This guy.
Was Dan Savage by his side?
Remember, this is the guy, if you haven't heard, who compared Trump to bin Laden. Dan Savage, as Amy's referencing, who has called for all Republicans to be killed, who's called for mandatory abortion. This is Sean Casten's philosophical shaman.
You have one political party in the country, which shall remain nameless, that has a vested interest in uneducated voters.
Sure. Right.
I mean, Fox News exists to make people stupid.
That's Sean Casten. Hopefully that'll motivate some suburban moms in the 6th Congressional. Jerome in Chicago.
Good morning. You guys may have covered this earlier in the program, but there's a piece here in the Kane County Reporter, also reported by Breitbart, about Lauren Underwood running in the 14th, and how the fact is she's got an RN degree, but she's never worked as a nurse. Obviously, if you've ever seen a countless number of commercials, portrays herself as a nurse. Worked in Obama's HHS as a payroller, came back home, lived with her parents, got unemployment compensation, and the thing that really kills me is in the article there was a reference to how the commercial with her with the stethoscope and the scrubs on was actually shot in the dentist's office,
right?
In her parents' subdivision. But with all that having been said, what kills me is how could this not have been outed, if not by his campaign, by some of the news outlets before yesterday? And besides that, let's just hope that I don't live in that district, and I would be so lucky I live in Chicago, and therefore I've got nothing but Democrats to vote for. That the people up in that district realize what a liar she is.
Yeah, it's fraud.
Thanks for the call, Jerome. No question.
It's not illegal, but it just stinks politically that she would just put on. I couldn't do that. I couldn't put to be something I'm not. I'm not that type of person. I was not raised that way to actually put on a costume, put on scrubs, and have hired help and come in and portray them as your patients, and you're actually in a White Eagle dentist office. Shame on her.
Yeah, and
it should have come out earlier. Randy Hultgren's campaign should have done it. Sorry, the left-wing media who didn't question it either. I've been watching that commercial for 6 months and wondering, where is she a nurse? Is that in D.C.? Because she's from there, and she just moved back here to live with her parents to be in the congressional district to run against Hultgren. And if she loses, which she might, then she'll move back to D.C. She's not going to stay here.
Yeah, we talked about the story in the Kane County Reporter. The Kane County Reporter is one of the papers I started. And yes, the question is, if Randy Hultgren was running around pretending to be somebody and something he isn't, would the Chicago Tribune and the other media outlets, television stations, network affiliates, would they have taken notice?
Can you imagine if he put on a white coat and pretended that he was, say, a dentist or
probably
family practitioner? Oh, they'd be all over it.
David in Riverside, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Hey, real quickly, two things. One is that I wish we'd get rid of early voting. When late information like this comes in, there's so many people that have already cast their vote.
Yep.
And the second thing, I'm not sure how much you guys talked about it, but this whole thing with Dan Lipinski's seat, the Republican that just got the nomination, Art Jones. Can we make a point of it that we just not vote for him, vote for anybody else? But not Dan Lipinski. But it's a concern for all of us.
Yeah, correct. Thanks for the call, David. Absolutely. You don't vote for Art Jones just because he has an R next to his name. It's a failure of the feckless, incompetent Republican Party in this state to not have put up a legitimate Republican candidate against Lipinski. You do have a write-in candidate. Dr. Yerkes is his name, Ken Yerkes, so you can write his name in. Yeah, but do not vote for Art Jones in the 3rd Congressional District. Absolutely.
God, I hope he doesn't get one single vote.
Well, some people will be confused and they'll vote for him.
Oy.
I'm sure. Mike in Schaumburg. Hey, Mike.
Yeah.
You're on.
Okay. So Rascom won by 18 points 2 years ago. How did it turn around so fast? I thought if this is the year of the suburban educated woman, how come they let a shady CEO of what amounts to a miniature Solyndra beat out Kelly Majewski?
Well, okay. Thanks for the call, Mike. Yeah, they talk about the primary that cast and won narrowly. You have a lot of voters who think they're sending a message to Trump, and I go back to Julie Kelly's piece. I'll cede my time to a suburban mom on the topic of suburban moms. She writes, here's something to think about. Even if you want to elect a Democrat because you don't like Trump, Trump will still be the president on Wednesday morning. Your grudge vote will do nothing to tame him or rein him in or punish him. It could end up backfiring on you and your family. So I won't tell you what to do, just offering some GMO-free food for thought. Yeah. And particularly in this state, you want to punish Trump? Well, okay, you don't like his tweeting and so forth? Julie Kelly makes the point, suburban moms are a little tougher than that, the name-calling and some of the intemperate tweeting or whatever. But do you want to hold people accountable who have destroyed this state? So your locally licensed Madigan roll call vote in the suburbs? No? Don't care about your home. Don't care about the life you've built here and what you may be able to get out of it and leave for your children. Don't care about that, because that's what you're saying by continuing to prop up Madigan roll call votes in suburban Cook and the Collars. Tom in Deer Park.
Greetings from the Illinois 6. I'm not a single-issue voter, and I wouldn't even consider myself a Republican. But in this race, in this election tomorrow, whether it's local, state, or federal, any vote for a Democrat is a vote against our Second Amendment rights. They've made this implicit, explicit, surreptitious. They don't like us. They don't like our guns. They don't like our rights. So I hope people are going out and voting for, among others, Rascom and Hultgren.
All right, thanks for the call, Tom. John in Lincolnshire.
Hi, Dan and Amy. I want to give a closing argument for Governor Rauner and why we all need to unite behind Governor Rauner when we go to vote tomorrow. And the reason is legislative maps. The legislative maps are the most important issue on the ballot tomorrow. The maps are going to be drawn in 2020, and they're going to be good for 10 years to 2030. The reason why we have so many problems today, the reason why Dan's candidates have to labor so hard to win their legislative districts is because Bill Brady lost to Pat Quinn in 2010, and Madigan got to write the legislative maps in 2010, and they're good right now. My wife, Leslie, she lost for state representative when she ran in House District 59 in 2014 by about 900 votes. And the reason why is because our district is drawn so that any Republican who runs is automatically at a 5-point disadvantage. Whoever wins the governorship tomorrow is going to be able to write the legislative maps in 2020. If Pritzker wins, that means Madigan draws the maps in 2020, and we're going to be stuck with them for another 10 years. So I'm calling on all my Republican friends to put aside whatever unhappiness they might have with the governor and to unite behind him, because we need him there to help write fair legislative maps that'll give Republicans a shot at repopulating the State House between 2020 and 2030. That's my closing argument. Thanks for letting me get it out to your fans.
All right, thanks for the call, John. Appreciate it. Another John, and this one in Peatone.
Hi there. I'm an election judge in the eastern suburbs here, and it surprises me at the mentality of some of the voters. Don't think your judges don't know how you normally vote. We do. And known Republican voters came in this last time around and pulled Democratic ballots because they were upset with Trump. Who did they screw? They screwed the state of Illinois. Morons. It's not just my precinct. It's many of them that had this problem. That's all I have to say.
Thanks, John.
It's what Chicago is talking about. It's Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy on AM 560. The Answer.
The following is a paid political announcement.
I don't respect this president.
The radical liberals in Washington will do anything to stop the president's agenda to make America great again.
I don't trust this president.
They would rather see the country fail.
His motives and his actions are contemptible.
Than fix the problems facing our nation.
And I will fight every day until he is impeached. Impeach 45. Impeach 45.
But Julie Olthoff isn't waiting around for the career politicians in Washington to deliver solutions. Julie Olthoff believes our conservative ideas will give us prosperity and preserve the American dream. That's why Julie has worked with Governor Holcomb to balance Indiana's budget, cut taxes for hardworking Hoosiers, and fully fund the next 20 years of building and maintaining our roads and bridges. Julie Olthoff and Governor Eric Holcomb have Indiana on the right track. Vote Julie Olthoff for state representative on or before November 6th.
Paid for by voters for Julie Olthoff.
The following is a paid political announcement.
Hi, this is Congressman Randy Hultgren. I want to tell you why I'm running for re-election to the U.S. House of Representatives and to ask for your support. I've accomplished a lot during my time in Congress. We have the lowest unemployment in years and a record number of new jobs. We've cut taxes, passed regulatory reform, put ISIS on their heels, and repealed the individual mandate of Obamacare. But there's still a lot to be done, and that's why I'm asking for your vote. We need healthcare reform that lowers costs and expands choices while continuing to protect the coverage of those with pre-existing conditions, which I've worked for and supported my entire career. We must reduce the size and scope as well as the cost of the federal government, and we have to protect programs for our seniors and veterans. You don't have to wait until November 6th to cast your vote. You can vote today at any one of the early voting locations in your county. For more information and to help find the location in your neighborhood, visit randyhultgren.com/early voting. I'm so grateful for your continued support, and together we will keep working for the 14th District and for Illinois. Paid for by Hultgren for Congress.
Hey, do you want your basement to be dry most of the time? If so, Permaseal is not the company for you. Permaseal hears story after story of homeowners who say their basement only leaks when it rains. Well, you don't want your living room or bedroom getting wet, do you? Then why do you settle with a wet basement? The Permaseal team believes that your basement should be dry no matter how hard it rains. That's right. You can have a permanently dry basement. Just give them a call, 1-800-421-SEAL. They offer a free estimate, no haggle pricing, and a price assurance guarantee, so you can rest assured that you are getting the best value. You know, Roy Spencer started Permaseal back in 1979, and it's still a local Chicagoland family business doing the right thing and standing behind their work. Your basement is already dry most of the time, but if you want your basement dry all of the time, you know who to call. Permaseal, 800-421-SEAL. That's 800-421-7325 or permaseal.net.
Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies in a capsule.
I had cancer. I have fibromyalgia. I have nerve damage and fatigue. I have thalassemia. I'm hypoglycemic. So my life since cancer, I've had to learn how to live with it. But starting Balance of Nature, I felt that the first month I felt different. It made such a difference that now I wake up, my head feels clearer, I have more energy. Very rarely does my body